What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You are listening to Ninja Night. This is Real Talk number 8. I'm absolutely delighted to see 52 people already waiting in the chat live for this. It's absolutely unbelievable to see the hunger that people have now for the truth. And I have to be honest with you, an unbiased way of looking at it, well, I say unbiased, well, I suppose it's true, because an awful lot of us are looking at the situations that are happening right in front of our very eyes, and we see what's going on. We know what's going on. We know who's involved. We know what they're doing, how they're doing it, and it's happening worldwide. You might say, "Oh, well, this is totally biased, and this is a biased show." And I'd just like to give a big shout out to the one or two people that consecutively tune into this show to give it a thumbs down. I love it. I love the fact that this show makes people bitter enough to come in and drop a dislike on it. This show has a 90+% for upvotes on this channel and on this whole platform. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love to see it. So people that come in here, by the way, and drop the dislike on it, I am welcoming you, because that helps out with the analytics. So nice one for that. Really appreciate that there. That keeps things moving. So wouldn't be here without you. Love it. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, we have a situation that's occurring now where people are saying, well, you might be a little bit biased when it comes to things. Good. That's how it should be. You should be biased when it comes to things when you're looking at reality unfold the way it's unfolding. You've got people that are out there now that think that people can switch like Doubtfire, Mrs. Doubtfire. A lot of people to be saying, I love the way that you just drop in the Doubtfire thing and don't even explain it. If you're here a long time, you'll pick up with the lingo. If you're not, well, I'm sure you get used to it very quickly and the references that go on. But what you're saying now is people saying, no, I'm not having any of that anymore. It's a big turning point now, particularly online. And you're starting to see it as well move over into the real world. Here's the thing. I want to talk about bias and people being biased. They're not interested in this woke agenda being pushed upon people. They're not interested in being censored. They're not interested in being told what is this and what is that in terms of if you're Irish or not Irish. You have had the media over the last week. You've seen it have an absolute field day with a woman coming forth, an African coming forth here representing Ireland. Meanwhile, there's four white Irish girls that haven't gotten a mention at all. All of the politicians as well too, the same. Paul Murphy, that was waxing lyrical about this girl that came forth. Ford isn't the position to be really celebrating. And to be honest with you, the way I look at things, you're either gold or silver, and that's kind of really it. Nobody's really celebrating bronze. Nobody's really saying anything that comes out of that's a really big success. I mean, that's something I've always applied myself, and it's always something that I taught from the great Roy Keane for himself. He said, well, your champions are not champions, and nobody remembers the people that aren't champions. And, there's not a lot to be said for that. So when you see people now in unison be biased against the media and the narrative that's been spun upon them, I think that's absolutely brilliant. A lot of people have taken what has happened and have run with it, and they said anything that you're saying as a politician or as a media person, no matter what it is, I'm thinking the opposite of it now. Is that good? Is that bad? Who knows? We'll see how things go from here on out. But the big thing I would say is people now have a bias against the media. They have a bias against politicians. And I think that's phenomenal. I think what a position to be in now. What a position to be in now that we're on social media. You're seeing people that have social media accounts that are ratioing TDs regularly and senators. We'll be talking about that tonight. The great Michael Connell, Satirical Soldier. If someone would put his YouTube channel in the chat there for people to subscribe to, if you're not already subscribed to Satirical Soldier, go over there and subscribe to him. Guy puts out excellent content. His Telegram's absolutely hilarious, and it really upsets the left. I think it's phenomenal stuff. But what I'm saying is this: you've got so many accounts now that are really getting a lot of likes and attention, more so than politicians and establishment figures here in this country. What are these people in politics going to do? Well, they're all about self-preservation, and you are starting to see now the maneuvers from these people to say, well, actually, we don't agree with what Helen McEntee is up to. Well, actually, crime is soaring through the roof here in Dublin in particular, and it's coming to a town near you very soon. Make no bones about that. It is going to happen, and it is happening in some towns around the country, and those towns are pushing back, which is absolutely wonderful. And as I said before, it's going to be the country people that are going to be pivotal in this going forward. Dublin is far too big now. It's far too big as a city now to do things the way they should be done. I was having this conversation recently with the OW lads. I know Derek McManus will be in there straight away. But he made a very interesting point, and it was these communities that are getting together and are pushing back against the government and are pushing back about settlers, essentially invaders, I would even say, being pushed into their areas is a phenomenal thing. And I agree. And you've seen an awful lot of comments that are going on online now, which I think are really good, about people saying, well, what can we do next? A lot of people are making an awful lot of energy about, hey, why don't we all have a super protest, insofar as if you have an issue with what's going on in Clondalkin, with what's going on in Tallaght, with what's going on in Ballybrack, with what's going on in a variety of communities around the place. All of these communities, people are now starting to say, hey, why don't we link up? You've seen the media and politicians already fear that. You've seen the NGOs fear that too. They fear people that are not from Ballymun showing up in Ballymun because they're at a protest in Ballybrack. And what happened over the last week or so? Well, people like Ferg, they turned up in the likes of Dunleary. Phenomenal stuff. And that's the sort of stuff that we need. I think that is a great move, and I think it's great to see the people moving around. You know, it's something that the media keep letting slip. They keep saying to you, they keep giving you away their game plan. They hate the likes of Philip Dwyer going towards different communities. They absolutely despise it. Can't stand it. But they've no problem with the likes of Owen O'Brien from Sinn Féin being moved around different constituencies when he fails in them to get in one constituency. That's weird, isn't it? How did not mention that? Very strange. Is he the only politician that does that? Highly doubt it. So this is what we're starting to see now. You're starting to see people gather together. And I have to be honest with you, it's absolutely phenomenal to see. I know I'm using that word and I've used it repetitively, I suppose, in the last couple of minutes. But when you see these guys like Ferg, like Gavin, like Philip, these people showing up and are doing speeches. Derek Blyg as well too. Big shout out to him. We're Ireland Force as well. You've got the Irish Freedom Party that are out there now that are making real waves. You've got Ben Scallon. Have to be honest with you guys. Big shout out this week to Ben Scallon. The way he has put the likes of Catherine Martin under pressure over the last week has been nothing short of fantastic. If you haven't seen any of Gript's videos, that's GRIPT, go over and have a look at their videos and some of the stuff that's going on there. Again, I don't know whether I can share any of it, if I can replay it on this and commentate about it. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a copyright thing or anything like that. So, you know, it is what it is. But what I'll say is go over and have a look there. The views are always important, and make sure you drop them a like as well. Because whilst you might say, oh, well, you know, you're talking about direct competition there, Ninja. I don't feel like that at all. What I feel like is I would rather see someone that is thinking on their wavelength, at the very least, being more influential than Virgin Media, than TV3, than RTE. I think that that's hugely important. I mean, surely there's journalists that are in those meetings that are listening to what Ben Scannell is saying and going, yeah, I like a bit of that there now. He actually makes sense there. And in fact, actually, the minister didn't answer that question. So that's good. They have to be privately thinking that. I know what you're going to say, and I agree with you. The company's never going to let them ask the questions that should be asked. But Gript are in there and they're asking the correct questions. I mean, wherever would you hear it? Because again, I can't show the video because I'm not sure we're copyright or anything like that. But you have Catherine Martin, who's instrumental in trying to, and they're talking about it openly now as well too, setting up this ministry of truth, telling you what they think is misinformation. These are the people that have lied to you for years, career lawyers that are forming basically a posse to say we agree with this and we don't agree with that. And here's the thing, and you might not like to hear or anything like that, but a lot of these people that are on these boards, that are on these committees, they look like they were born in the 50s and the 60s. This is something that Garrod was talking about during the week. He was talking about boomers. And he was even right about what he was saying. A lot of water to carry with these people. But you do need an awful lot of boomers now to be turning up about what's going on because they are now pensioners. And they're feeling it. Surely a pensioner is sitting there right now that may or may not agree with this and is saying to themselves, hang on here, I'm barely getting by. And I'm looking at Ahmed. I'm looking at Kelechi. I'm looking at the rest of the bios as well too, coming from Georgia, coming in, drinking around Sean McDermott Street, hanging around outside at nothing, causing problems, harassing women, and they're there and they're not paying anything. And they're in the best of Clobber, they're in the best of hotels, and they're out there just hanging around. Surely to God, you're thinking to yourself, hang on here for a sec, because guess what, guys? The Irish media and politicians are going to start calling those fellas Irish. That's the next thing. This is how this has diluted over the last few years. And an awful lot of it, of course, is to do with the sports ball psyops as well, too, what they had with the likes of players being picked for Ireland that should never have been picked for Ireland, if you're asking me. You know, if you're born in England or Scotland or anything like that when it comes to these things, I don't think you should have been picked at all. Oh, but that's because he's the best player in his position. How about picking someone that's homegrown? How about picking someone that's from here, actually from here? Because now you've seen the fruits of it now. When you're looking at, for example, the women's team, ironically enough, the Irish women's team seems to be fairly white, guys. It's fairly white. And you look at the men's team, that's not by accident either, I don't think. Anyway, we'll keep moving on into this. We've got a very interesting show ahead. What I'm going to say to you is I do like to keep these short and sweet as much as possible. It hasn't been that way the last couple of weeks, obviously, as well. It's been topping up in and around the 3 hours, so I do appreciate people that hang on in there and listen. But going back on what I was just saying there, it is very important, and this is the thing, and what is happening over I would say the entirety of the world is they are trying to divide people. They are trying to set people against each other. And it is very simple and effective with what they are doing. The key thing to remember, and I always have to remind people, and I'll always remind myself, is the politicians are at fault for what's going on. There's no border for this country. They let this country be open with borders there during the case of the sniffles. Remember that one? That was a big psyop as well too. And the border was open. How is that something that happened? How? Now you're starting to see the likes of the Gardaí. Now you're starting to see articles, and I don't know, maybe this is going to be the turning point. I don't know. I saw an article there during the week, and it was 2 Gardaí were assaulted. They were one fellow with a fairly bad eye injury, according to the paper. Now, they didn't give any sort of description to the perpetrator, which would then open it up to speculation, because if it was an Irish fella, they'd probably let you know fairly quickly. Media are also doing a thing where they're going, Dublin man has done this, that, and the other, and you're going, that guy is from Lagos, from Nigeria. I don't know what you're talking about, bro, because he ain't from Ireland. And this is what they're starting to do. They're starting to draft these people and go, man from Clondalkin. He's not from Clondalkin. He's from Iraq. Would you stop out with that? And here's the thing. An awful lot of these places, and it was something that I looked at the Tucker Carlson interview with Donald Trump the other night, and he said something that I was thinking, and I was saying to myself, that's very interesting. He says the prisons in these countries are opening them up, and they're letting these people out, and they're going off to other countries. And I said, that's something I thought was happening anyway. Now, he was someone that was obviously in the know, and is still in the know with things. So if he's saying that, then that's definitely happening. So do you think the best has been sent to this country? I highly doubt it. I don't think that we're seeing doctors and engineers and solicitors the way these people are saying. You've got Maya Dunphy, by the way. You've got Maya Dunphy. A lot of people would be saying, who? One of these goofballs that the likes of these articles like to put out forward. This is a woman, by the way, that was with Johnny Vegas. You know, the fella that looks like Jabba the Hutt, the English fella, the comedian. Bit of an alky, I assume, allegedly, respectively. Can you even say allegedly, respectively on that when he's turning up the show drunk? Yeah, this is a guy as well, too. It's a big man. She was with him. She got pregnant, and Johnny Vegas obviously bounced. And so that's a single mother now. And she's saying, how good is multiculturalism in this country? Oh, the irony there is unbelievable. But I don't think that this place should be taking any sort of advice from a person like Maya Dunphy. Why would you be taking any sort of advice from a person like that? Absolute head the ball. Allegedly, respectively. Did we say allegedly, respectively? Yeah, we will. We'll say allegedly, respectively. Okay. But here's the thing. The media are happy to push these people out. But what's happening in response, people are pushing back. They're having a good laugh in the comments. They're pushing it back. And a lot of these articles, by the way, from these companies, they're starting to limit the replies. The point man that does be in here as well, too, sends me things regularly about comments being halted, prohibited on various different platforms. You're starting to see politicians do it. You're starting to see political parties do it. You've seen the media do it. And that's pure and utter cowardice, in my opinion. When you decide to limit comments like that and have comments off, and you're seeing the political parties and the news agents that do that, by the way, that are out here. When I say news agents, fake news, gay. You've got these people that are out there that'll limit the comments or even start deleting them, which I think is unbelievable. Now, obviously, this platform, as I keep telling people as well, too, people would be surprised. Oh, I wrote up a comment there, Ninja, and it's not here anymore. It's not me that deletes them. It's the platform. But you've got these places out there that have like 60,000 subscribers, and they're getting ratioed to bits. How is that happening? How is that? Because guess what? They crossed the Rubicon, and what has happened now is people have now fully seen what's going on. And a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s now have been dragged into this argument, because a lot of them are going, I was conned there for a very long time. And now these young whippersnappers are starting to see through it. And it's not just young whippersnappers, and that's unfair to say that. People in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, their 80s, they've seen this, they've known this. And an awful lot of them have been saying these things over the years and have been told, oh, you're mad, something wrong with you. Tinfoil hat wearer, you're absolutely out. Gone for the Indians there. What's the story? You know what I'm saying? You have now a lot of people that have wised up to what's going on. And that is something that is a very big positive. But isn't it something when you go, well, the other side now that we know now. So these other people have no qualms with doing very negative things. We've seen it over the last few years. I mean, they're out there now talking about pushing even more of these Voldemorts. If that's not to show you how I would say, audacious these people are, how arrogant, how ignorant these people are. I wouldn't even say ignorance. I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's arrogance that they are going to try and push this stuff. When you have cases of the suddenly has to be at an all-time high. You've got turbo cancers happening as well. I'm hearing nearly every 2 weeks about people that are like, young Josie there was diagnosed with, and when I say young Josie's probably in her 70s. Young Josie was diagnosed with cancer there, and she got about 2 months, and I was like, what? Like, how did that happen? How did that go left unseen? Well, like, because of the old flu, like, you couldn't be checked. Okay, so that's on the government, is it not? That's on the media as well too. That's on the health professionals, is it not? Like, how are people not hopping up and down about that? Because if you want to go and say that that was a natural thing, okay, fair enough. You should be angry then at the system. Because the system has showed you over the last couple of years it prioritised sniffles and didn't prioritise that. Hadn't you got, what's your woman's name? There was a Sarah Harden, wasn't it? Your woman there that was a singer as well too. She actually tweeted out, I was either that or an Instagram post, and she was like, I was too scared to go to the hospital. And you're like, that's unbelievable, the fear that they put into people with relation to that. And then you've got obviously then other people that who knows what this stuff is doing. Nobody knows. I said it to you beforehand. I don't think people are going to see the end result of these things to the next 2 to 5, maybe even 10 years of what's going to happen with relation to that. But what is happening is these things are going through the roof. They have to be. They're happening all over the world. They're happening to prominent people. I've heard a number of stories over the last couple of weeks of people having issues fainting where they've never fainted before, collapsing where they've never collapsed before. You've got people with pains in their faces on one side and everything. And I'm sitting there going, alarm bell's starting to ring here now for me, but nobody else is looking at this and thinking the same thing. Or maybe they are inwardly and they're like, oh, I hope it doesn't happen to me. Like an ostrich burying their head in the sand. I hope it doesn't happen to me. That can't be happening. No. Like, this is happening. So why don't we all acknowledge this? Like, why don't we all come together and go, hang on here now, this is banging out of order. Unbelievable, isn't it? So I'll jump into the chat and I'll say hello, and we'll go into the couple of stories that I have tonight. I've got a couple of memes, as always, to keep things light. We like to be very light on the show. We like to be very happy because happiness is key. And these people serve a very dark individual, a very dark master is what I'd say. And we have to be one that serves the light. And of course, as well too, as you'll always know as well, I'm a big fan of promoting God. And I do wholly believe in God. And as I said before, I think God is on our side. I think God calls an awful lot of us to do what we're doing. I mean, think about it. Look at the movement that is happening. You've got protests happening all the time. You've got the media running out there trying to run cover for these things. Oh, protests aren't happening as much as they used to. No, they're still recording, but you're just not reporting anymore. The Gardaí aren't being sent down to them anymore because when it got to the day 2 and day 3 of Ballybrack, it started to get hairy and it started to get a bit wild. And how many times is it going to happen now where a Garda member, for example, is facing injuries, as we can see now in papers and stuff like that? And how long is it going to be before those people start to turn? How long is it going to be that they're going to take that? I think it's going to be a long time, if I'm being honest with you, because when I'm looking at America, and I know you'll say, well, Ireland and American Ninja, completely different places. But I'm looking at America and I'm seeing what they've been putting up with, and they've been putting up with it for way longer than we have. And only now you're starting to see the cops sort of turn and be on the side of the people. Now, you're seeing cops over there, for example, getting involved in the Antifa gang insofar as they're pushing them back. You're seeing them starting to get involved with the climate hoaxers as well. You're starting to see them getting involved with various things that are happening around the country. But that mugshot, for example, of Trump last week, I'm just looking at that going, it is staggering that a man's gotten nearly 4 years out of everybody knowing that that couldn't have happened the way they said it did. There's absolutely no hope that that happened the way they said it did. And it happened in front of the entire world. As people have speculated before, they said maybe Trump is playing 4D chess, that he's going to come back. And he's already saying that he's like, well, they nicked the last one, so what are they going to do with the next one? It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Because at that point, do the police departments, do the military stand together and start to say, okay, right, we've had enough of this here? And do they stand with the people? Or what's going to be the end result? Nobody knows. And this is something that's quite interesting, I think, around the world. This isn't just unique to America. It's happening in different places. It's happening in South America. A lot of people aren't talking about that either. Happened in Brazil. And Brazil is saying and doing some very interesting things also. France, the same. The French have been dealing with what we're dealing with now for the last number of years, and they've had enough. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Same in the UK. Now, a lot of people would say, well, maybe this is a controlled demolition of various places to bring in the collapse of society and to restart it under the people that are obviously publishing this whole thing under their influence. They already have mega influence, but you look at what's going on now. Corruption is at an all-time high. It's in your face. Where else would you get it where Leo Varadkar again is under investigation? Dan's mixtape, big shout out to Dan's mixtape, who did a brilliant video talking about Leo Varadkar under SIPO investigation now, from what I understand, and has there was an article out yesterday that was like they've contacted him 3 times and he just has not responded. So that's an interesting case, because here's the thing: politicians, are they not supposed to be people that lead by example? So why would anybody else then present themselves for anything like that? You know, so Derek Bloig was told to present himself to a station, and he's like, I don't know what he's doing now, but certainly a lot of people at the time were giving him the voice of, no, you don't have to turn yourself in, and certainly you shouldn't. And then you're seeing, even for example, the other day, where there was a guy that was arrested that was obviously non-Irish, and you've got a Garda member that's there and going, take that phone off us, or else I'll seize the phone. Should you not be encouraging this? And here's the thing: you're part of the problem, but you were the only person. And see, a lot of people would say, oh, Ninja, you're not a fan of the guards. It's very difficult to be a fan of the guards as things stand, to be honest with you. It really is. And I'll go and tell another story now in a moment. But when you see, say, for example, 10 to 15 Gardaí, and one fella saying, knock the phone off or else I'll seize you, and the other 14 saying nothing, that's the problem. The other 14 should be telling him, hey, no, you can't do that. Now, you might say, well, that's undermining them in the field or on the field or whatever like that. I couldn't care less, because why? They should be encouraging what's going on, because they're going, well, this doorboard is up to something that he's been arrested for, and this should be shared and should be known. Why are they doing this cover up for them? Then you've got the other video that popped out during the week, or I think maybe it was even last week, Off Grid Ireland. They put out a great video as well, and it was of a fella, don't know who now, again, full credit to the people that are taking these videos. And he was walking along, and he's like, guard, there was actually a guard talking to fellas in the car, and he's like, there's no tax and insurance in that car. Of course, it had the plates from the blue and yellow flag waving country, allegedly, speculatively. And he was just like, you're not going to take that car, you're not going to seize the car. And the guard just looked at him and started walking away. It's a remarkable video. It's an absolutely unbelievable video. But if you were a paddy, guess what? He's taking the car off you. So what's the deal there? So we'll get into it now. We've got a couple of chats here to begin with. And we've got Era only 1B1014. Good evening. The important and multiply method is enacted to reside the Indigenous Irish to the ashes of history, demographic issues, us or them. Well, you're starting to see it, and they've tried to do it covertly over the last few years. You're starting to see people now outnumber Irish when it comes to birthing, when it comes to having children, when it comes to progeny. You're seeing a big push towards Irish people to say, oh, no, you go on into your 40s and 50s there without any kids. Kids are a hassle. Kids are this, kids are that. And yet then the other side of it, the people that are coming in are having 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Like what your, say, for example, even our parents, definitely our grandparents were doing. They were having 10 or 15, because those kids were born to replace people then that came before them. Now you're starting to see the flip of it now. Now you're starting to see people that are coming into this country having 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're outnumbering you first and foremost, which is going to then make it very difficult for you as an Irish person then to have a culture or a history or any sort of future going forward. And then it's just going to be totally a nation of nothingness, really. You know, that's something that an awful lot of people are saying now. There's no culture, history, or tradition that's going to be carried forward. And it's looking that way. Multiculturalism isn't a good thing. I mean, when I go to China, for example, or when I go to Japan, I go there to be in Japanese culture, in Japanese tradition, and Chinese tradition. I'll stick with Japanese for the time being. And to see the Japanese people and see what they do and see how they speak and try and learn some of the language and stuff like that as a foreigner, as a visitor. And that's it. You go there for the culture. You go to other places and you go, well, what is the culture here? And there's nothing really. I mean, you rock over to the likes of America and it's a hodgepodge of different things. But what's interesting about America is, and it's the same the world over, I've seen people freaking out on Twitter there during the week that they're like, Irish Americans aren't as Irish as people that are like Arab. And you're like, excuse me? Are you trying to say people that just landed on these shores are more Irish than Irish Americans? Like, and that's another thing for me. I'm just like, well, the Americans always do. I'm Irish American. I'm 15 generations of grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-grandparents, all Irish. And you're like, well, you were definitely more Irish than, your man that's coming here from Lagos, Nigeria. But this is the thing that you have in the media. So absolutely hilarious. But like I said, when you're important so much, it's then going to try and wash away then us as a people. It's a method that's being used that isn't a physical one. Over the course of history, you've had hundreds, thousands of years of people invading and being repelled, people invading and being settlers and stuff like that, and taking over and becoming then the owners of that property, as you will. You've got the British Empire that invaded here and tried to do the same and did to a various and high success. So I would even say, look at the language we speak today, and that even has an impact upon why we're seeing so much immigration. I mean, I don't see an awful lot of people that are from Africa that are interested in learning Polish. Do you? I don't see an awful lot of people that are from India that are interested in learning Hungarian. Do you? And Hungary is actually incentivizing their people to have 5 and 6 kids. They're giving them money towards that because they know what's going on. Poland's the same. But this is the issue that Ireland has, and it's something that we need to face up to, and it's something that is important. You see the media that say negative things about the Irish language, and they try to cultivate and keep going this negative viewpoint of our own language. That's why. It shows that this place is more susceptible to people just rolling into town. Same with the UK, same with America. No surprise. Emmanuel Godson says, I love you all. Win. Ruckus sends a super sticker. Finalo Murky sends a super sticker. Jerome Reedy says, the future will view our history as a crime. Yeah. You have to be looking at what's going on right now. And you have to say, okay, history has to be recorded, and it has to record this time as the stupidest time of all time. Look at what's going on. You've got dudes that are saying that they're women. You've got the likes of Catherine Martin that's standing up there that wants to be interested in the likes of a Ministry of Truth. And this is a person, by the way, let's not forget, that was waxing lyrical about Vera Pauw. Is that how you say her name? The fact that they're trying to make a Roy Keane, Mick McCarthy, Saipan Teo out of this women's football team is hilarious because nobody cares about it. I suppose you might be saying, well, Ninja, you're talking about it now, that they've gotten what they want out of it. But nobody cares. Nobody cares. But you've got these people now that are out there, like the likes of Catherine Martin, that are saying, great for the women. The women's team's done well. Well, the women's team, basically, they're telling each other now they didn't trust each other, and that's why they flopped at the World Cup. Okay, interesting stuff there when you were all left here sat on devices, and Catherine Martin then is saying, hey, it's great to have so many women together and women working together. And like 5 minutes later, Ben Scallon's asking her, excuse me, what is a woman? Can you define it? And she can't answer the question. Now, you know my opinion about the Green Party. If I was running things in this country, the Green Party would be banned yesterday because they are wildly out there. And look at what the members of that party are doing. Now, I know people would say, oh, that's unfair, not that Ninja. And they do get an awful lot of blame because here's the thing. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are also culpable when it comes to these things, along with Sinn Féin, along with Labour, along with the Social Democrats, and every other individual that's sitting in the Dáil that's not jumping up and down about these things. Fair play to base Matty McGrath, but he's there in his own, basically, from what I can see. But that's it. They're all culpable when it comes to these things. The Greens will get the blame, but the Greens are saying stupid things and regularly saying stupid things. I mean, you got to look at these things, and you got to look at the fact that these people are ratioed again online and say, how do these people get votes? Simon Harris out there during the week spinning a load of waffle. They're saying, oh, fair play to Simon France on the question of taking accountability. When he was saying, oh, children will be sorted there with the scoliosis treatment there, and he said it in 2017, and that doesn't look to be the case at all. Giving a load of waffle then gone, I'll take accountability for that. Yeah, great. But see, here's the thing. You were Minister for Health at the time. You don't even possess a third level degree. Why is the third level degree important, Ninja? It's important because he has no medical history. Why is a person that's supposed to be involved in the medical field not involved in the medical field? Like, why don't we have a top doctor in that position of Minister for Health? And look at the bogus things that are going on around the world with other ministers of health. Absolute Jabba the Hutt looking characters. People that you would be going, I wouldn't take any healthy advice from that person. Unbelievable. By the way, before I forget, because I know my mind works about 120 miles an hour when it comes to these shows, there was a link that was sent to me. The Point Man sent me it. And it was a link for a hair transplant thing it was. And who was on it? Old Philly the Shilly. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. So anyway, we'll keep going. Fair play to you. The few coins must have went towards getting the hair transplant, Philly. Nice one. Slap Happy's in here. It says, Hell Friday, people. Good to see you here. Mars Bar 123 says, lovely is back. Have to get the beers in. Excellent. I feel like it's like Return of the King here. Like when Aragorn comes back there after having a bit of an issue there in in Rohan and comes back. Anyway, I'm not putting myself in the same pedestal of Aragorn Return of the King. What a absolutely masterful trilogy that was, and indeed fantastic books. But yeah, it's good to be back. Obviously, last week couldn't do the show, so I appreciate people turning up this week. Frank Barnes says from July 4th to August 31st, 2023, there was a scheme called 71 Lakh Scheme. It entitled people to come from the subcontinent to Ireland and receive €80,000 in order to set themselves up. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Air Force's evening, folks. Frank Barnes has looked at the Sinn Féin YouTube channel to see when they started to disable the comments. It was between 8th to 11th November 2013. In my opinion, an awful lot of these places are captured, and they've been captured a long time. Anytime you see the rainbow stuff being flown, I'm like, that's the new Jolly Roger, that's the new pirate flag there. Now that's letting you know that they own that institution. That's why they fight so hard against people that are like, no, I'm not having that. Base Enoch Bork is still out there and doing the job there. I had to say, wonderful stuff. Derek Mann says, if you have a question or comment for our host, please use @NinjaKnight in the chat. Thanks very much. In there as always. Thanks to all the mods, by the way, that do a phenomenal job here on this channel. Richard McKev says, even Ninja, Derek, and all you good people in the chat. Awesome. Good to see it. We've got Derek McManus with the drinking rule games. The drinking games and the rules that are played in the chat here. End of the line, Joel says, again, not advocating or endorsing or anything like that. You know yourself when it comes to those things. End of the line, Joel. Ninja Knight. Amazing how no one bats an eye at vibrant Irish sportsmen, sportswomen now. Yeah, and the next time, if he ever does, if Conor McGregor wins anything, they'll say nothing about it. Ian Gardy's an interesting character as well, too. Hopefully he does well, but you know, when I start seeing taking the ladies' short name, I'm like, that's weird. I don't like that. Sean O'Malley, in fairness to him, Irish American descendants, new champion of UFC. Awesome to see. Fair play to him. And is out there going like, I'm Irish. And I'm like, this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. Thomas Wood says, Ninja Knight, the Green Party Nigerian candidate in Longford, putting out foreign language ads for votes. The absolute state of this country. Yeah, and then you've got the media running cover that are like, they're not putting stuff out like that. And you're like, here's actual proof. Oh, stop. A couple of comments there good in the chat there. They're having a laugh. It's always good to see that. A couple of new faces as well, too. When I say new faces, a couple of new names in here as well. Love to see that. Sheepdog is in here. I reckon the Fair City script writers check in here for tips, law, and engineering. Do you know what? The Fair City thing, if anyone's not familiar with this, I'll talk about it here a little bit tonight. But it's starting to red pill people. And I've seen that online from people that are saying, yeah, my ma's watching this. She doesn't watch anything else, doesn't believe in anything that I've been saying for the last couple of years. This thing popped up on the telly and she's like, oh my God, you're actually right about what's been going on. Because it was so overt. Now, what do I think about that? What I think about it is this. I think it's phenomenal that they're doing that. Why do I think it's phenomenal? I know I've used that word a number of times here tonight. I'm very aware of that. I'm keenly aware of that. I think it's a good thing because they're admitting defeat. I know what you're saying and I know what you're thinking. You're going, well, they're hammering everybody with stuff in the media and now it's coming into the entertainment, but they're doing it ham-fistedly because these people don't possess the required intelligence to do what needs to be done. I'm not going to give them how they should do it, of course, as you know, but what they have done is they had some fella there during the week on Fair City that was out like, people are saying refugees out and like they're anti-LGBTQ2 plus 2. And, you know, when I come from Iran, excuse me, just going to stop you there. What happens to people that are of that community in Iran? What happens there? Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I wouldn't have went at that then if I was you. And then it's all of the other stuff. They're also anti-maskers and anti-Voldemorts. Okay, right. You've hit the bingo of everything that people are saying. And now people are starting to figure out when it comes to entertainment. You see, these people haven't understood and still don't understand because it's all to do with ESG scores as well too. If you're not familiar with that, have a look at that. These companies in the likes of Hollywood, you're thinking to yourself, and I know the great Dave Cullen that's out there does videos on it and talking about the collapse of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the collapse of Hollywood as an entity. It's because they have money being pumped towards them. They don't view these failures like you and I do. Why do you think that there's people still in positions that they're in? Kathleen Kennedy should have been gone as soon as the first piece of treatment was coming out for that sequel trilogy. They should have looked at that and went, what? You want to do what with this? No, you're gone out. But they didn't. Instead, what they did was they kept her on and she's still going. That's on purpose. Despite failing, despite all of these things, she's keeping on going. And it's the same with politicians. They can't, here's the thing, they can't lose Leo Varadkar. The Forum can't lose him because here's the thing, he's one of their boys. So the fact of the matter is, he's one of their guys. It doesn't matter what he's doing. That man, here's the reality of the situation. He could do legitimately whatever he wants. And the fact that he can do that is because of the likes of the Forum and the power that it wields. a foreign entity wielding so much power in our own country that these politicians aren't being held to account. When is the last time you've heard about a politician going to jail? When is the last time you've heard about that? When is the last time that they've been involved in things that are as clear as the nose in your face and still they face no repercussions for it? But guess what? They'll chase after a fella that's doing and posting things like, for example, satirical soldier. They'll chase after him though. They'll chase after various other people that are out there doing good things, because these people need other bad people in situations to be doing bad things. When they see people doing good, they're penalizing people for that. And what is that? That is the first instance, and it shows you, and you can see it through media and you can see it through social media, that they are trying to legitimize and leave criminals alone and persecute people that are doing the good thing by exposing what's going on and pointing what's going on. And what is that? That's communism. This is the first throes of it. And this is what they are trying to do. They are trying to install communism here in this country. And for anyone that doesn't know or hasn't got a clue, you've got a lot of idiots that are out there. You've got these like the likes of the refugees welcome and all that. Now they're crying in the paper saying, I don't have a house, I can't get anywhere to rent. Guess what, dummy? I told you that a year ago, and so did everybody else. But you proceeded to call people like me racist, even though you couldn't see what's going on, and now you don't have a gaff. And now you've been thrown out of your gaff because you couldn't see what was coming. But we can't, because this is what communism does. Anybody that's familiar with South American countries or has South American friends, they're all saying the same thing. They all know what's going on. Told you before, I talked to people from Venezuela before, and they know exactly what's happening. Loads of them are jumping ship. They're like, we're over here. We can see what's going on. Look. They know. Chinese people know too. Asian people, they're the first to say it to you. They're like, we left China for this very reason. And now you have a Chinese woman like Hazel Chew running around telling you should be silenced in your own country. This is bad. We've seen this. And yet you still have people heads buried in the sand. Oh, no, it's no problem. But going back to what I was saying there, the foreign can't leave these people in jail. They can't have that. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to upset societies around the world so that they can inevitably just take them over. The corruption that's in your face at this moment in time is on another level. People that say, and they rightly will do so, and maybe internet has helped it, that when corrupt things were going on in the past, there was a bit of theatre. It was hidden from you. It's not now. They're just like, I was caught down that, yeah, so what? And see, this is the thing. And this is where we're at now. Where you've got the likes of the media that are trying to say negative things about people that are going to run for office. They say negative things about Philip Dwyer. They say negative things about Derek Bloig. But guess what? The stuff that you're saying about them isn't sticking. Because people are like, hang on. The man over there for Edgar was under a criminal investigation. And as a matter of fact then, wasn't prosecuted, wasn't charged for that. And that looks weird. And then they see all of the other instances of things going on around this country and go, oh, that's weird too. And it comes back down full circle to the Fair City incident where people go, oh, this really is happening here now. And look at how overt they're doing it. That's because leftists aren't good at creating anything. As J.R.R. Tolkien said, and I'm going to paraphrase, evil cannot create, it can only siphon. It can only be a parasite, and it can only try and push its message through things that are good, and by hijacking them essentially. And that's what these people do. They go, oh, we're losing the cultural shift here. Guess what, guys? Activate Fair City. Activate that. In the next 5, maybe 6 months, you'll see a number of prevalent Irish celebrities that will come out and say, what's going on here in Ireland with these people protesting is wrong. They've had a couple of the Z-listers that have come out already, but nobody's paid any heed to that. But they'll have some people now eventually come down the line that'll be like, I think it's awful and all that. How about the likes of Liam there from Game of Thrones? Any chance of you housing any of these people at all? Oh, no, sure. Like, I'm going over and I'm filming some different films. All right, but you don't want them living in your house there in Dalkey or Hout or wherever it might be that you live. You don't want them living there while in your absence. No, you don't trust them, do you not, Liam? All right, okay. All right, that's interesting. Bob Geldof, you housing any of these people by any chance? No. Anybody on RTE? No. The RTE thing, by the way, is hilarious because now they're like, Ryan Tubridy has been offered gigs around the place. How come RTE, and this is how you know this country is corrupt, how come RTE in its entirety, how come they're not in jail? Why? Why are they not? You know what I mean? So anyway, Fair City, nice one. That's red pilled a few grannies. And I love to see that. I love to see when people go, oh, no, actually, guess what? You were actually right about that. I've seen a couple of people that were commenting about that online. They were like, Francis was told that this stuff has been going on, but didn't believe it. And now Francis is a big believer. So looking forward to the Grey Brigade starting to join the people now going forward. Hang on there for a second now. I'm making an absolute hames of this thing here. Trying to click onto Gab and show you some of the stuff I have. Why is that doing that? So anyway, we keep going. Just starting to mess about. Hang on, give me 1 second there. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. No, that didn't do it. The mouse has decided to go and do what it wants here now. This is what you get with this Gonzo production. No, we're back. We're good. Okay, refusing Sean says he's late. Yikes. And now it's 2052. Should actually go and do something about that when it comes to that. No, I don't want to end the broadcast. Why would you do that? Okay, we're still good. Anyway. The feds are taking control of the mouse here, lads. This is what's going on. All right, well, I'll tell you what, guys. We'll try and jump out of the chat now because it'll take me all night to get into the chat. Well, the chat's getting very big these days, and it's very difficult to keep an eye on it. So, I'm telling you now, this mouse is actually doing a lot of movement here. I don't know what's going on. Feds are taking this thing over, lads. Give me 1 second. Hang on. Oh, that's had to go on real bogey there is. That's really weird. No, this thing is going absolutely nuts to this. Don't know why that's doing that. This is what you get this Gonzo production here, lads. Anyway, the moment you want to go on to Gab, the mouse is hobbling around like an absolute lunatic. That's weird now. This thing is absolutely gone nuts. Look at that highlighting things and everything. Hang on there, folks. Just bear with me for a sec. You take 1 week off and you say, okay, everything's going to be sorted, and you go back and it's like, oh, it wants to mess about now. Yeah, this is weird. Okay, maybe that should start it. No, it's doing the same thing again. That's bizarre. It's actually not water when it goes onto the likes of the normal screen, but when it goes onto this here, it's gone nuts. Let's see if we can get this. I'm trying to take that comment off as well. Give us 1 second. This is absolutely shocking. Okay, right. Should we be back onto... Okay. It seems after a little brief intermission of messing about here, now it's decided to go back to doing what it's supposed to do. That's very strange. I've never seen that happen before. As I said, technical side of things, when it happens with this thing, is an absolute nightmare. It's still doing it. It's still actually not responding to what I wanted to do. Gremlins, lads. The Gremlins, that's what's going on. You can see them in the chat. The lads are like, oh, it's Gremlins, 100%. Come to my house, you can use the neighbour's Wi-Fi. It's not the Wi-Fi, it's the mouse. Emmanuel Godson says, stop saying mouse. Levi's gone crazy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there now. Very strange. That's never happened before. It's a weird one. Now, we should be across here onto our Gab. Should be coming across now. Just checking on that now to make sure it shows. No, is that tab shared? That's another weird one. It's decided not to share the tab. Why is that? Very strange. Hang on there 1 sec. No, that actually made things worse. Now it's zooming in on me and everything. This is weird. This actually never happened before. You know what the shows are like? The shows usually are on the road, not a bother. Just give me a sec. Browser can't access your screen. Okay, hang on. Tirga Soldier sends a green tube. I don't know what that means. If you can enlighten me, that'd be great. So there you go. It's genuinely never happened, lads. Honestly. Let's see if this works now. No, it's not the battery. The battery's killed. Yeah, Manuel Godson's in the chat there, says the right thing. It's usually very smooth, dark forces. It's looking that way. Because it was bang on there, not a problem there. And it's gone across onto another website, not an issue. Very strange. It's not even letting me go onto Gab now, it's not. It's, you know what it's like you move the mouse to one part of it and you want it to do one thing. Here we go. There should be a doing it Fabrizio Romano. What's that thing called? Let's see if that's come across now. It doesn't look like it's sharing on the tab here. Doing a Fabrizio Romano impression. Oh, here we go. Looks good. Now let's see if this holds up on this. This is the only problem that I have. And if I want to jump in and out of things. Right, this is just going to have to be the way it goes for the time being. Hopefully it'll show up now. Anyway, we'll jump back into the show. I was an odd technical difficulty for a few minutes. Hopefully it sorts itself out. It doesn't look to be it out. It looks like it's jumping around like crazy. Yeah, that's not working for me at all. This mouse, it's not. Yeah, let's see if this works now. Most important stuff is at the top anyway, so that's all good. That should be it. Should be good now. We should be all right for the time being if we stay on the image like this. So anyway, we'll jump back in. So independent.ie stuck this out, it is, and it said, as a new term began today, Enoch Bork arrived and took up position in a corridor in the school. So fair play and a big shout out to Tirga Soldier for these images. He's shared these images towards the Telegram group, for example, and he has put out some excellent work and he's continually doing it. It's great to see so much crossover as well too in the Telegram groups. Absolutely brilliant. But here's Enoch Bork, and there has been a real shift online when it comes to Enoch Bork. Enoch Bork has gotten a lot of attention, as you know, over the last year. And online, you've had a culture of trying, from the left in particular, of trying to mock this man. Now, very similar steps were taken towards the likes of Donald Trump and various other people there that have religious beliefs and particularly believe in, obviously, God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. So there's a big push on towards and against these people. And when these people take a stand, these people online don't like it and they mock it in such a way that it's cringe. Like, you know that I'll have a laugh at things and you know that I'll enjoy things and stuff like that. But when these people do it, it's cringy. They're like, oh, Enoch was standing there all summer looking in the mirror, practicing how he stands in these places. And I was like, oh, that's a bad attempt at humor there. It's really poor. Nothing funny about that. But you were starting to see people now online, in particular, turning against the mob. They have decided to say, well, tell you what, Fair play to him. A man of principle, went to jail, came out of jail, still doing this. And that's even after the school tried to antagonise him with two owl boys, by the way, let's not forget that. Two owl boys that had themselves between them that rainbow nonsensical flag. So there you go. You've got a fella here now that's probably, what is he, in his 30s, his 40s, and two old fellas then that are far older than them that are out there going, look at us with the flag there. It's a Christian school, guys. You're not following what it's supposed to be doing if you're deciding to include this sort of nonsense. Do you think that stuff would be carried out in the likes of a Muslim school? I don't think so. I don't think so. But you've got a man here that has his convictions and he has his way of thinking that is important, and it's something that a lot of people are gravitating towards. The longer this goes on, the more negative it is for the left and it is for the likes of the political and media scroungers, I would say, in this country. A lot of people are starting to look at that and they're starting to say to themselves, well, hang on, if we're getting orders from the likes of Brussels and Germany and all that, what's the point in all these politicians? Did you see that there actually last week? They were saying, oh, we're going to increase the number of TDs by 21. Why? Why is that? It almost seemed like you're trying to stack the deck. It almost seemed like that you want to have so many people that are there that you're going to be able to overwhelm anybody that might possibly get through and into these places. That's what you're looking like you're wanting to do. And not only that, then at the same time, then you're saying, oh, no, foreigners won't be involved in elections. You're putting forward foreign candidates. You're actively doing that. So going back on this guy then, this guy has his principles. He has his way of looking at things, and a lot of people agree with it. And you were seeing a big pushback online that of people saying, I believe in what he's doing, and fair play to him, he's sticking to it and he's committed. Enoch Burke back at school, he was sacked for a new term as fines passed 148,000. Wouldn't be worried about the fines whatsoever. You see, they've racked up these fines and they're like, oh, what do we do now? Because if they put him in jail again, it makes it look even more ridiculous than it is. And you've got these people, and what I have to say, it's absolutely hilarious every single time. Anybody that's following on Twitter or follows the likes of Satirical Soldier on Twitter will know and say the same thing. They'll go, by the way, guys, these people that think that kids can decide to be Mrs. Doubtfire, they think that this Enoch Burke fella's wrong. You know what I mean? Every single time. The people that are flying the likes of the blue and yellow flag, they're people that also think that Enoch Burke is wrong. They are the same people, by the way, that will call you a fascist, but they're the same people that decided to support the masking of people and lockdowns and Voldemort's there because of the sniffles. This is the audacity of these people, and an awful lot of people have woken up to what's going on, saying they're actually stupid people, and then stupid people possess social media accounts, and those stupid people actually possess, and with a little hive mind. That's why there's a great channel that's out there called Liberal Hive Mind. If you haven't ever heard of it, check it out, because this is what it is. It's a hive mind with these people, very similar to likes of ants. And you know, to be quite honest with you, I'd say probably ants have more intelligence, more higher a higher IQ than an awful lot of these people that are out there. Do you ever see them? I have the rainbow flag in my bio, and I have the Ukrainian flag in my bio. Okay, right, yeah, all right then, yeah. You're not worth talking to, first and foremost. And second of all, you're going to just spiel an awful lot of parroted phrases that you've learned over the last couple of years. You're a racist for not supporting Ukraine. All right, yeah, okay. You cared about Russia. I couldn't care less about Russia. And in fact, if you have the Ukrainian flag in your bio, how come you're not over in Ukraine on the front line? How come you're sitting there in Paddyland talking nonsense? Head on over if you believe in Ukraine so much. You've got Michal Martin now that's been appropriately called out on looking to make sure we have sovereignty in Ukraine. Were you not the fella that was caught on tape saying like we shouldn't be looking like for a backwards way of sovereignty here in Ireland? Was that not you? Was that not you? But we're very, very interested in keeping the borders of Ukraine they're intact and making sure like we repel any. Excuse me, another thing, Dopey. We've got this thing called neutrality. This thing called neutrality, you know, makes us good. You know, it makes us in good standing when it comes to these things. Because guess what? If you and your government weren't so stupid, the likes of the price of petrol, diesel, oil, all of these things, it'd actually be quite cheap. Because if you were neutral and said, well, look, we're going to take no part in this, but I tell you what, we're not going to say that negative about the Russia man. Well, you'd be looking at cheap prices for these things. But instead, what you decided to do was, what did you decide to do? You decided to side with a fella that likes to cross-dress, like Doubtfire. He's put out some weird videos. He's done a tour around the globe. Politicians in the media and celebrities have flown in and out of this country. Didn't see them doing that for Iraq and Afghanistan, did you? I didn't see that. Didn't see that at all. And these people that are the windiest of it, people that you'll know are going in and out of this place. Oh, it's great, like, well, actually, we're very sad to see how these people are happy. Looks like it's cool. Not only that, then, your man there has been caught regularly wiping his nose and looking around sketchy, like everyone knows what's going on there. He's looking for some bag or something like that. Was it something called a bag? Is it? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Anyway, this is who you were palling around with. What's the other dude doing? What's the other dude saying? Oh, he's talking about family values. Okay. He's banning doubtfires. Right. Okay. He's looking like the guy I would have sided with. So anyway, when it comes back to this guy here, I think he's doing a monumental job. And I think if he ran for a position, I think he'd do very well, if I'm being quite honest with you. Belgium. What are the Belgians up to? Well, the Belgians have decided to have enough here. And they said Belgium suspends shelter for single male asylum seekers. Now, you know as well as I do that this means something, but it also means nothing. Because they'll say this and they know that this is the rhetoric that people are going with. But let's take a bit of a speculation here. Let's take a little moment here to think. What are the Irish governments looking to do? And what are governments around the world looking to do? They're looking to blur the lines between men and women. They're looking to blur the lines between adults and children, aren't they? That's what they're looking to do. So who's to say that these people aren't being told on their way into the place? Because you've seen them, they've been caught by the way in various different countries where they come along with the likes of the burqas and all that because you can't see them and it's covering and concealing most of them. What's to say that these guys aren't told, listen, Ahmed, you're going to have to tell people now that your name is, what would we say? Shaniqua? Would we just say that? Shaniqua? You're going to have to tell them that you're Shaniqua and that you're a woman. And Ahmed's pride is a little bit dented, he is, for doing that. But guess what? Ahmed's had to been hanging around jails in Afghanistan for helping out some very bad people. So what's he going to do? Well, he's going to take that option. You've seen people as well too that have floated across to this country. Philip Dwyer did the interview with them as well too. Guys that look like they hail from India, saying we are ineligible to be involved in any sort of conflicts. Oh, okay. What age are you? We are all 60. You look 35. You know what I mean? So this means something, but also means nothing. Because, like I said, these people have their ways around that and they can lie and all about these things. How many footballers, by the way, and not to take pot shots or anything like that at places, but how many footballers have played for the likes of Nigeria and have said that they're 20 trying to look 40? Like, you've got that guy there recently, what was his name? Renato Sanchez, plays for Portugal. And people were like, I don't think that guy is 27. I think he's 40. So anyway, let's keep going. News Talk out here putting out this. Now, what's interesting and what a lot of people have highlighted, including Toby that has been here as well, that holds Twitter Spaces, who does a great job there over there. News Talk have been getting a lot of likes on social media when it comes to stories that people are in favour of, which is interesting because they generally average about 1 to 10 likes on their posts on Twitter. But when they post out something that people actually agree with, they get a lot of likes, which is quite interesting. I have to say, that's quite interesting. Now, it seems like that's not an account that's been shadow banned. Meanwhile, I would say yours truly, that's happened. I've seen it actually happening live on Twitter, by the way, still, where a post will have, say, we'll just say, John and 20 others have liked this post. So that means that 21 people have liked the post, and I'll get like 7 million likes, then I can see it. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't really care because, like I said, I know what's going on. I know that this is I would say, minnow of a podcast. I know it's small, but it's interesting to see a lot of the time that when I do put something out, I'm like, okay, well, this is ratio on some big media outlets. I'm also starting to see something which is also quite interesting, I would say, which is I'm putting something out and it would be in the comments and it's starting to get likes really quickly. And it's close to ratioing the likes of News Talk or a politician. And next of all, like you'll check back in about 10 minutes and their likes have trebled. And I'm saying to myself, right, there's not just me. I'm just saying, I see big accounts from our side of the things, like the likes of Satirical Soldier, Toby, Mick O'Keefe, Derek Bloig, the Irish Git as well, that they be commenting and they're getting vast amount of likes really quickly. And then these other people are like, oh, well, it looks bad for them. So is there a bit of to and from going on? Who knows? So anyway, what happened was the NCT decided to post something out, and it was, now again, when I say decided to post something out, you've got people that will say, oh well, this actually happened with relation to this thing is messing here big time. Don't know why it's doing this. It's still at it. The NCT decided to post something out. I don't know why this mouse is going absolutely wild here tonight. People will be suggesting to me in the chat, they're like, you should buy one that actually plugs in. Hang on there, guys. Again, it's done it again, where it's messing about. It's the mouse that's losing its mind here tonight. Don't know why it's done that. Rats. So anyway, you're seeing I got it back there, it's all good. You're seeing the NCT, and it was a panic move from people over the last couple of weeks where they're all going, hey, the NCT is saying that they're going cashless, this is bad. Well, what happened in the meantime? And why are they saying things like this? Well, it's like this. These are putting out this sort of statement because people said, I'm not paying. So what did they do? They went, uh-oh, this is another TV license situation. And people are starting to decide not to pay these things. What do we do? Oh, okay, right. We're gonna keep taking the cash there. We're not going to go cashless. Now, we've seen people on our side of the fence that have said, what a victory. And I agree. Because these people are ever so more looking to go towards a digital way of paying things. They're looking for that. Why are they looking for that? Well, it's easy. They're looking to do that because it controls, and it is an ability of them to control what you do and what you say and how you do things. That's the ultimate goal of these people. You know, I've seen someone there recently saying the elites want you to own nothing and be happy. And I said, how about we have no elites and be happy? How about that? Like, that sounds more interesting to me. Now, when I say that, people would say, oh, that's very negative. I'd say, no, how about we arrest these people that are looking to do this and try to impose this sort of stuff upon you? How about we arrest these people and put them in jail? How about that? Why not? You know, I'm not calling for anything here that's outrageous. You know, I'm peaceful. No, I'm respectful. But you know how things are, and this is what they're trying to cultivate in society. They're trying to cultivate people that are harmless, that are not going to look for repercussions and for punishment for these people. You know, I see it all the time. People that say, oh, this politician should just resign. And then what? And then what? Oh, well, they've resigned then. We've won. No, you haven't. That's like asking a football manager that to resign there. He's after making a mess of it. That's like saying, oh, David Moyes was sacked out of Manchester United. Are anything any better? Are they? No. Are they wheeled in other people then that made even more of a mess of things, and now it is where it is? So this is the same type of thing that you're looking at. Whereas if you have repercussions for people, like if there's a repercussion for Helen McEntee in terms of being arrested and tried for outrageous things, then to me, that's a win. But saying that she's been resigned, look at Derek O'Leary. Well, Dara was involved there in Golfgate, like, and we just put him on the back benches, but now he's back. And what's the repercussion? He lost a few quid he did over the last year or so, but he's back. You know what I'm saying? These are the same people that wanted you locked down your gaffs, wanted you to be wearing a mask forevermore, wanted you to be taking these Voldemorts that they didn't know what. Well, I mean, whether they didn't know what they would do. They certainly didn't work. And they made that agreement with these companies, and now they won't tell you how much that the money has been given towards these companies. And you want them to just walk away from this? This is why things are the way they are. Because there's no repercussion. There's no threat of these people going to jail. That's why asking these people to walk away doesn't work. People asking the likes of Helen McEntee, I'll just walk away, won't work. It's like asking Kathleen Kennedy to walk away from Star Wars, won't work. She's not going nowhere. Not while she's been paid big bucks. And all that's going on is people saying, hey, you should leave. No, you should be asking for an arrest, because that's going to get people more jolted than to go, yeah, actually, you're right. When's the last time you've seen an arrest? But like I said, going back to this, current system of payment is continuing. The NCT will not be going cashless after all, Jack Chambers. And people go, yay, clapping sales, lovely. Yeah, that's great. Great stuff there, guys. You're getting to pay for this thing here, which is absolute nonsense. Because you're seeing people there with the likes of plates there from Ukraine that are driving around without anything like this. Yay! Oh, how privileged are you to be doing this? You see how stupid that is? You see how ridiculous this is? It's absolutely unbelievable that this is looked at in the way that it is. How about, for example, the likes of Jerry Hawken, for example, that was looking for you not to be permitted into a supermarket if you didn't have a Voldemort? How about he's arrested? How about that? No? I think that that's more of a win than this guy saying, guess what, guys, you're going to... Well, this fella talks posh as well, too. Oh, posh boys. This fella turned around going, actually, you're actually able to pay with cash here, and we're delighted with that. They're thrilled. They couldn't care less. They're like, oh, sure, like, that's happy days. The people have gotten a bit of an antsy in their pantsy about having to do this. What would have caused these people more of a problem, which was happening, was people were going, well, I'm not paying that. That's when you're seeing the change. They're like, oh, people, we can pay with cash now. And people are going, yay. You know what I'm saying? It's why the TV licensing is causing them a headache at the minute. TV licensing is causing them a big headache at the moment because they don't know what to do. People have decided themselves, I'm not paying that, whether cash, nor card, nor nothing. I'm seeing what's going on. I don't like it. I don't avail of it, and I don't want nothing to do with it. You've got news talks that are out there that are pumping out an article. Can't think of who the politician was, but one politician was just like, we should have a smartphone charge. What? Oh, just because people are getting their news and stuff from these things. And then you've got the likes of these people that run around going, oh, we're going to have former censorship board. Absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So we have this anyway. So this is the big crescendo as such that I wanted to talk about here tonight. And it was Timmy Dooley. So Timmy Dooley got into it with Satirical Soldier on Twitter. Now, Satirical Soldier was ratioing this guy on Twitter, which was interesting to see. And you've got a lot of little chills then that were running underneath this post to go, do you know who you're talking to? You're talking to a right-winger extremist. And I was like, define right-winger extremist, define that now. And no one ever comes back to it. It's like when you say to them, define fascist, define racist. They can never do that. I had one guy actually there last week that he was deciding to call me a fascist. And I said, can you define the term fascist? And he said, is that you, Michael Connell? And I was just like, what a win for Satirical Soldier that he is actually known like that, that people are being asked to define words that they cannot do. And he knows that. And he's like the boogeyman to the left. He is the Baba Yaga to the left. So when you ask them what a word means, they initially think that, are you Michael Connell in disguise? Do I sound like Michael Connell? Do I sound like Satirical Soldier? I don't think so. Now, that man has some pair of pipes in him as well, too. The man's a good singer as well, too. You know, in fairness to him, he got a good set of pipes. But when you're looking at a politician like this, deciding, and this is no mistake, by the way. This doesn't happen by mistake that they decided to do this. This goes to show you a little bit that the wheels are starting to come off. When you have a politician throwing gauntlets down like this towards a person, I'm like, oh, this is just had to follow him up after what went on in Cork there with the Cork mayor. So that if anyone's out of the loop on that one, the Cork mayor bizarrely was in a video where he had raised, I think was it the Pakistan flag in the chambers, in the hallowed chambers in Cork, Pakistan flag, and welcoming people in and everything like that, and then decided to go out on the street and was confronted by Ross Lahoiv, I think the man's name was, and a couple of other people. And Ross was asking him, like, what did he think about open borders and the likes of that? And this guy bizarrely decided to start singing, oh, what a beautiful morning. So very strange. But then ended up, from what I could understand and see from the video, to wrestle the phone away from Ross and allegedly threw the phone. Very quickly after that, then Ross followed him into what seemed to be a pub and was calling for the Gardaí, because the mayor then decided, and you could tell by his face before and after, that he went, oops, don't know what I'm after doing there now I'm in trouble. Has that man been arrested yet? I don't know. I don't know if he's under investigation. But certainly that looked like and seemed like assault to me. Because if the roles were reversed and a member of the public did that to a politician, what do you think the headline would be? What do you think the 6 o'clock news would be talking about? What do you think all of these parasitic outlets would be saying? They'd all be saying the same thing. Far-right agitator takes politician's phone and throws it after singing in his face. You know what it would be. You know what it would be. So this is another instance of politicians being so arrogant here in this country. This is a man who failed in an election in Timmy Dooley, saying things like this. This is a fella who was suggested to be a senator because of Micheál Martin, allegedly, speculatively. Similar to your woman Eileen, who can't string a sentence together. This is another guy. This is a fella, by the way, Timmy Dooley, if you remember correctly, that when Philip Dwyer had a YouTube channel, Philip Dwyer actually did an interview with this fella, and you want to see the face on this clown. He didn't know what to say to Philip Dwyer, because Philip Dwyer had everything, all the ducks in a row, and knew what questions to be asked him, and knew by the responses that this fella was given that he was spoofing. And this guy decided to say this towards Satirical Soldier. So Satirical Soldier said, my difficulties are born out of your ignorance and your proclivity towards authoritarianism. You and your fellow politicians are disliked beyond comprehension. I gave 21 years of service to Ireland. Timmy says, if you feel so strongly, by the way, 114 comments to 72 likes with 21.8 thousand views, something I was like the highlight. If you feel so strongly about our democracy, and if you say politicians are so disliked, why don't you put you name? This is the standard of politician that we have, by the way. Why don't you put your name on a ballot paper and then see how the public will react to your vision? Timmy, are you still hanging around the blue and yellow flag waving country? Because we all saw that picture of you and the Z-Man, and you looked very washy. You and Billy Kelleher. I did a video on him not too long as well too, called Billy No Mates. That's another fella that's up to no good in my humble opinion. So anyway, we the people decided to put a poll below this because this is a very effective thing to do. Something I like to do as well. I like to throw polls below things and say, what do you think? Well, we the people put this up and said, who would you vote for? Mike Connell or Timmy Dooley? Well, Mike Connell got 93% of the vote there, and there's 344 votes. So that is very good. And if I was Mike Connell, I probably would be running in the area that I'm in. Because I tell you what, you'll get real big traction. And a lot of these people that are in these areas should be running because you're going to get big traction. The media won't be able to look away from you. And when they decide to do that, you're going to have a very Trump-esque effect where they're going, oh, they're not talking about that guy over there. What's he saying? And they'll gravitate towards you then. But this is real democracy in action. But here's the thing. This guy is talking about democracy and voting for politicians. This is a fella that was involved in Timmy Dooley in a thing called VoteGate. There was an article that came out. I don't know whether this thing is going to bug out on me, so that's why I'm just going to explain it to you rather than show you the picture. But I have the pictures down below. Hopefully we'll be able to get to it on the next stream when this thing sorts itself out. But this fella was supposed to have not been even in the chambers and a vote cast by him 6 times. And the answer to that was, oh, whoops, yeah, I thought I pressed the button once I did, but I obviously pressed it 6 times. That looks like cheating. Is that not cheating? And the fact that you're not even present there to do a job that you're elected to do is unbelievable. And this goes on all of the time. So what you've done there inadvertently is you've shown people that democracy is an absolute wash here in this country. No way is it happening. Not a chance. And the fact that you're hanging around with a fella that's a little authoritarian in his own country shows everybody what they need to know. Because if you're hanging around with people like that, you're hanging around with very bad, negative people that people know about, and you're going, oh, I'm here taking a photo up at this guy. And you're talking about democracy. Have you seen what he's done in that country? What happened to Gonzalo Lira, by the way? What happened to him? How come he was being chased around the place for exposing what was going on? How come you've got live streams of that country, by the way, that it looks like there's nothing going on in it? Nothing. Live camera footage and everything like that, nothing happening. It's like looking up and down on Collins Street, not an issue in the place. You've got the likes of the Klitschko's that are waxing lyrical every single day on social media. We're actually on the front lines and we're doing this, that, and the other. How are you still posting from these places? How are you doing that? So credit to Mike Connell and credit to we the people here because they have put this guy very much so in the forefront of, hey, this is how arrogant the political scroungers here are in this country. A guy that you wouldn't cross to meet with if you were on the street is a guy that's saying, why don't you run? Well, here's the thing. That's a very, very poor choice of words because now people are going to start looking at the electoral system even further and they're going to go, hang on here for a sec. How are these people actually getting into these places? The best thing that has been done with the likes of social media over the last few years is a lot of these people have become radioactive. And when I say that, it's like, this is the difference between normal people and politicians. Politicians are just bad-looking actors, mostly. And what they do is they encourage each other to be in social arenas. And this is something that Donald Trump even talked about. Everything's going good and you're the best person when things are going well. But when things start to go badly, you start to see who's really who. Something Trump talked about. Look at what they're doing with Helen at the moment. They're like, you Fine Gael don't agree with what you were doing. Okay, that's the start with them because the rest of them are going to start coming out and starting to distance themselves from it. They haven't yet. They've given their support. And so have all of the other parties as such. But the point still remains. They'll start to slink away. Look at what they did with Hazel Chew. Hazel Chew is a prime example of that. That people brought so much attention to her and what she was doing that the Green Party, and as bogus as the Green Party are, they went, we're not standing over you as a candidate there now for the Senate. No way. And since then, they've more or less ousted her because they see what's going on. They're like, oh, the public really didn't like her. So there you go. So run is what I would say. Run in these places and just highlight things like this and go, look how arrogant this clown is. And what do you think of that? What do you think about him being over there in the country there far and wide? They're after being paid to go across. Then he's talking to you about the climate and why should we be afraid of the climate and all that. He's flying over to a place over there. Why didn't he just zoom you, man, if that's the case? And why is he in fact even zooming that guy? That guy's at the causing so much strife. He's banning media. He's banning other parties. This isn't the blue and yellow flag waving country. People don't notice. Talking to the outlaw recently, and he was saying people that he meets, it's always something that he thinks is funny. He's like, people think that blue and yellow flag waving country are winning. He's like, that's insane. And you do the whole circle of, now the Russians have more. They have more arms. They're taking over places. They are no problem. They've told them they want the peace talks, and it's just a vicious circle then because people go, well, the Russians are still losing. But how do you think that is happening? Weird anyway. So I've got Ben Scanlon here and says, just finished asking Irish media minister Catherine Martin what is a woman in the context of the upcoming gender equality referendum. Video coming soon on Grip Media. So great job done by Ben on this one here. And big credit to Grift because he's really putting Catherine Martin on the spot regularly now. And this is another person that's going to become very well known to a lot of people very soon. Why do I say that? I say that because, again, when I'm looking at this whole, we're going to introduce more TDs, what's the best thing that these people can do? They can create so many different scenarios that people can't focus on one person at once. Look at nobody talking about Stephen Donnelly. You know what I mean? With all these suddenlies, with all the cancers and stuff going on, we're talking about Muppets like this. You know what I mean? Now, I think it's important because what I'm saying to you, it's important about this whole censorship type of thing, and it is. But Stephen Donnelly has gone basically underground now at this stage. Nobody's talking about him. Nobody's talking about Tony Houlihan. Nobody's talking about Neffe. Nobody's talking about holding them accountable. Nobody's talking about the 14-year-old boy from the islands that's no longer with us. And the likes of the company then beginning with a P, their mayor man going, I'm not coming to court or anything like that because I've been threatened online. And then they're trying to rule out all sorts. You see, these are the things that are going on in this country now and are happening regularly that are being overlooked. And it's been overshadowed and overlooked with nonsense. And look, I am someone that gets involved with nonsense and talks about nonsense. But the thing that's important about this whole situation is this. You've got to look back at the people that were involved in the likes of that. And they're all culpable. They're all culpable. But if one falls, they all fall. So that's why they create so many distractions and diversions. Helen was under fire for a while. Pascal came out and said something stupid. Pascal was under fire then for about a week or two. This woman comes out and says stupid things. And from a politician's way of looking at things, and I'm sure the media, they think, and they probably know, that it takes about 2 weeks of a media cycle of something really gathering interest and gathering attention. And then after that, then it's done. You know, there's a guy there that's called Gavin. I don't know whether you've ever heard of him. He's a big guy in the likes of America. I think he was involved in Voice and a couple of other things there. You know who I'm talking about. Guy that has a Scottish dad. Very provocative individual and someone that's founded a group with the second name Boys and the first name then Proud. Okay. So anyway, they have talked about that regularly on his show. He's just like, when it all came out, he says that they were trying to do this, that, and the other about the group, and he says it's just a men's club. He says they call him Istafog and everything like that, and he's like, everyone's welcome to join. But he says that was a 2-week media cycle. He says where they went after him, and he said, and after that, then he says it actually gathered more support. He says and more people, followers to the channel than it did before. So he's like, nice one. And now people are starting to look at that and they're starting to say, yeah, the same's going on here. Nick Merck's the same. You know, you got that guy out there that's been calling it from day one, Alex. Alex was calling about things that are in motion. And this is Disclosed TV, which is a very big media outlet, that he was saying they wanted to bring back the restrictions in October. And because Alex unveiled it, the White House had to come out and go, man, we're not doing that. We had talked about that, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. So because they had done the spoilers, and like that, because so many people now are looking at it and going, oh, you know what you're going to do. Once 2024 rolls around, they're going to try and do all the same shenanigans again. Once people know that, then it's difficult for them to go, let's do it again. You know what I mean? So let's go here. This is what I was talking about there. This is a real case of fuck around and find out, because these people are the same people, I've no doubt, because when you just look at them, lads, I keep saying it to you, You just have to look at these people to understand their politics. This is where we're at right now. This is akin to going to the circus, and you've been accustomed to going and going, oh, there's the ringmaster there. Oh, yeah, I see that there. And then you see the clowns appear, and you're like, well, I know they're clowns because I know what they look like. They're colorful, they're weird looking, and they also have ridiculous looking makeup. Well, we've got real life people out here that are running around as clowns and jesters in our society. And you can quite clearly see with these people, women, allegedly, the person on the far right there, I'm not really sure. The far right guys. Walk out. Good one, yeah. I'm not really sure about that character there. Now, the others, you can make a bit of it. I mean, again, allegedly, respectively, you can make a bit of a claim for there, but the person in the pink there now, I don't know. That person thinks they're a Barbie girl, but they more look like, like a mullet wearing NASCAR driver, I suppose. But anyway, this Irish Examiner article was hilarious because a lot of people have just ratioed it in the comments with, looks like the people that are refugees welcome have now got problems. And this is something that everybody on this side of the fence had talked about recently and previously. And about a year or two ago, we're like, this is what they're going to do here. And these people are that ridiculous that they're like, what about us? Well, they don't care about you. This is the thing. They also don't care that you have no place to go. And what are they going to do? They're going to create supply and demand, which is something that's good for business. So when you're looking at it from a business point of view, this is brilliant for the likes of landlords. It's brilliant for the likes of, I would say, colleges that are big businesses, really, when you look at it, that they're going to just go, oh, we're going to earn a lot of money and stand to earn an awful lot of money from this. They sure do. They sure do. And if you're priced out of these things, well, guess what? They still win. Because there's going to be still somebody paying for that. And you're going to get people then that are going to be paying for it from the likes of, for example, other investors from across the world. This is what they keep saying, by the way, investors and contributors. And what's another word that they like to use? I'm trying to think of it right now. Can't think of it. They like to say, what's the other word that they use? It's been batted around a good bit now the last while. It's very similar to the word investors. Anyway, they have people there that are keenly interested in how things are going. But returning students face 6-hour commutes are dropping out as housing crisis bites. Returning students are facing a big problem because they're going, where's my house that I had last year? Where's my apartment? Where's my room? Oh, no, that's been given to Ahmed. It's been given to Kalechi. It's been given to the lads from Georgia there. They're all bearding out in the front of the place now, It's no problem at all. It's all good. And that's on the taxpayer. So, nice one for that there, guys. And you're the same people that walked in the likes of NGO Fest. Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. Are you housing any of them? Oh, no, you don't have the room. Oh, okay. You don't have any space, don't have any home. Right, okay. Well, then why are you at a protest like that? Because you're actually a turkey voting for Christmas there. I know they're starting to find out. So you've got some of the signs there. The cardboard ones, the cost of living is too high. Walk out. Well, I agree. I agree that the cost of living is too high. But that's because of people like you. And you might say that's unfair. It is because of people like these people. Companies have been allowed to get away with shrinkflation, is what they're calling it now. They're able to give you less and charge you more. Why is this less, guys? It's less because there's an awful war going on in a shithole you've never heard of before, and everyone's paying the price, and we just have to show solidarity with Ukraine, guys. What's that got to do with the chocolate bars going from 200 grams down to 160 grams? What's that got to do with that? It's nothing. Nothing to do with it. What's that got to do with the rent here in this country? Nothing to do with that. What's that got to do with the people coming into this country that are not from that place now and are actually now online on the likes of Facebook forums asking how they can scam Ireland? What's that got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it, because here's the thing. They've used these things and used these excuses to give you less and make you pay more. Keep telling you, I see it in the likes of action figures and various other things as well that I'm interested in, and you see it like, oh, we're giving you these accurate looking things here, yeah, but you're charging me more. It's €30 for a 6-inch figure. It's ridiculous. That thing was €20 only 2 years ago, probably, maybe even 3, and now it's up to 30. Now you're looking to charge maybe even 40 for these things. Like, these big companies, by the way, are starting to feel the pinch too. They're like, oh, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do this here. And these people here now have been the ones that have been out and protesting. Oh, guys, you just need to open your hearts and open your homes. No is the answer to that one, especially with what you're getting. So there you go. Cost of living is too high. Well, you're to blame for that because you've accepted government excuses over the years. You've accepted these people coming into the country that have been unvetted, are undocumented, and are coming here illegally. Because if you rip up your passport and go somewhere, that is an illegal entrant into the country. Because then the likes of the law enforcement have no way of verifying who you are. But that's racist to ask them for a passport. Oh, right, okay. Where was that energy when it came to the Voldemorts there when you said passports into the likes of the pubs, cinemas, restaurants, and all that? Never committed a crime before in my life. But I have to show ID going into these places to tell you I've taken something that's a therapy to do with your genes now at this stage. It looks to be allegedly, expectively. And you want me to do that going to these places? You're the same people. You're the same people that are saying it's racist to ask these people for passports. Get up out of it. Don't buy into a cost of living crisis. Nonsense. This is another spin, by the way. Another phrase that they like to throw out. The cost of living crisis. No, do you know what it is? It's a bad politician issue. That's what it is. You've bad leadership. You've got bad people running these places, and they couldn't give a fiddler's why because they're still getting paid and they're sitting on hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. Don't care at all because there's no repercussions. No threat of them going to jail. No threat of them being arrested. You know, if we had a good police force here in this country, I think 90% of these politicians would be arrested by now. Tonight's calling for martial law. Was that not what it was over the sniffles? People stopped going to the church. Church has been barged into by people in uniform. Disgraceful. Senators and politicians calling for people not to be entered into a supermarket on the basis that they didn't take something that was completely experimental. You wonder why I keep going back to these things. This is why. Because this is where it all stems from. And it's going to continue on. So don't give me this spiel of cost of living crisis. That's an absolute nonsense. And that's something that you're being fed by the media. Oh my God, I can't believe things are so bad. It's bad because you support bad things. That's why. It's legitimately why. No other way of looking at it. No two ways of looking at that anyway. Walk out. Yeah, what's that going to do? What's that going to do? You see, here's the thing. When you stop funding places and decide to give people nothing in terms of like votes and stuff like that, then there's going to be a problem. You know, looking at this on a larger scale, and sometimes I talk about football clubs and that. Look at Manchester United. The Glazers aren't going nowhere. Why are they not going nowhere? People keep buying merchandise and people keep buying tickets. They're going to just keep going. They're just, sure, like, why would they go anywhere? They're like, happy days. Keep the fan base quiet in there for the next 4 or 5 weeks. New signings, deadline day, happy days. And they'll say nothing for 4 or 5 weeks then, and then maybe if there's a bad result, maybe they'll go, Glazers out. But sure, like, we're still here. We don't care. The only time they cared was when they stopped the game. When the fans charged into the stadium and stopped the game. Oh my God, can't believe they did that. They cost you a lot of money that day. Cost you a lot of money. The sit in as well too cost you a few quid, but not as much as stopping the game did. You know what I mean? So that was interesting. Here we go. We've got more nonsense coming from the independent RE, and this is why I'm saying to you, repercussions need to be had because these things are just going to be pumped out again and again and again. And you've got people that are out there now. I've talked to a couple people in the last few weeks. How are you getting on? Oh, yeah, no, like I wasn't well there now last week. Why you not now? Yeah, no, I had the bug. You had the flu? No, like I had the bug, like. All right. How'd you know that? Well, I was taking a test, like. And my consent is to go, did you get Voldemort? And they're like, yeah, oh yeah. They're still under that psychological psyop there, by the way, where they're like, oh, yeah, of course. I don't you think any less of me if they didn't. No, I decided I didn't. And they're like, oh. And I say, but you still got it. And they're like, yeah. And I say, oh, that's weird. And you still did a test. All right, okay. That's weird. How were you feeling? Oh, my body was aching, like, you know, and wasn't feeling well, and a couple of sniffles and that. No, taste and all was gone. Okay, right, yeah. Did you hear about Fred? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. Fred collapsed there now last week. Yeah. No longer with us now. Yeah. Oh, you're not concerned about Fred though, and that happening to fellas there in their peak. No, you don't worry about that. Oh no. Sure, that could happen to anyone. Oh, stop! It's absolutely unbelievable. Have you seen, by the way? Because I don't know whether I'll be able to get to it tonight or not, because I don't know whether this mouse is going to act the goat again. But did you see the Iron Man event situation Now, first and foremost, what I always say is my sincere condolences and sympathies with the families and the people that have lost, this plane of existence. What has happened as a result is it seems like multiple people and organizations, allegedly speculatively, are starting to point the finger at each other and are like, well, it's your fault. That's your fault. Excuse me, just Belgian tonight here. Just want to ask you the question. What is the story with these people having heart attacks when it comes to fitness? Whoa. Didn't seem to be as prevalent before. And this seems to be happening at events around the world, by the way. It seems to be very much so increased. It seems like the line has gone right up, like can make a rocket ship. Are we going to look at that? No? Oh, okay. Well, that's weird. That's weird. I don't want to look at that. There's another story as well, too, I was going to show you tonight as well, too, about a doctor that passed away. No longer with us as well. He was working in a leisure centre, working out, I should say, in a leisure centre, and they were like, oh, this guy collapsed. It was 1 week away from his wedding. Again, sincere condolences and sympathies with him and the family. Absolutely awful, tragic. But nobody asking the question, which is the first thing on my mind, which is, was he, I think that should be known, because the media won't tell you that, of course, but the family should, because now it should become clear, and people would say, that's actually so ridiculous that you'd ask that ninja. That is actually invasion of privacy. Hang on here for a second. You're the same person that would have wigged out if someone was running along there without a mask on them. You were? Okay, well then you can't talk. You're the same person that wanted people to be showing passports when they were going into a pub, a cinema, a restaurant, or anything like that. You were? Okay, right, you can't talk. So that's out. And see this whole thing and this whole, I would say, visage of, oh, we should have a social contract of things that are acceptable and unacceptable to ask. I disagree. I think we should be able to ask anything. And I think we should be able to ask about this here. This whole social contract of people like looking away and turning the head away. And I know people that do it, by the way, that will say things and some people will sit there and nod along. I'm not like that. I'm not geared like that anymore. I just say things now. I'm just like, do you not think that's stupid? Do you not think that that's weird that someone that's after taking 4 and 5 of these things has now gotten the sniffles? Do you not think that that's ridiculous? And wouldn't you tell me you were unwell not too long ago as well, too, with some other issues that you've never had before? Do you not think that that's odd? And just keep driving it home. That's what I like. What do you think about that? Do you not think that that's ridiculous? And mockery and pointing that out is important. Because if you don't, it's just going to continue going on. And the cycle's just going to repeat again and again and again. And here's where we are. We're at this. They're at this. In 2023, when they've been caught. They've all been caught. Everybody knows. And yet still people are going, I'm not going to say that in here because I don't want to look like I might have been duped. But guess what? An awful lot of people that are out there now that walk into a room are just like definitely possess an IQ higher than a lot of these people that are bought into this here. And then who knows what sort of effects that they are causing upon people, like from shedding or anything like that. Who knows? Independent.ie. Updated Voldemorts aimed at providing greater protection against have been approved by the European Medicines Agency, paving the way for their rollout to Ireland and other countries over the course of autumn and winter. So this tracks again with what Alex said. Tracks again with what he was saying. And updated ones. Okay, so the first ones didn't work in the first place, and neither did the second one, or the third one, or the fourth one, or the fifth one. And God help you if you're on 6 now at this stage of the game. A lot of people are going with the energy online, which I'd love to see it, by the way, and I do get involved in it now and again. I have to say I am guilty of it. When people say silly things, particularly that, so I'm like, go on and take more of this. Go on, do that. You go and take more of this. How many of these did you take? You'll find that the conversation stops about there. You can have it back and forth with someone. Someone will say, for example, like Razzadat is as Irish as you are. And I'd say, no, she's not. Like she could be a diadem. Who knows? Who knows these days? But I'd say, no, she's African. That's how it is. And they'll go, oh, no, you're an Islamophobe. And you go, no, I'm not actually. I've actually had black friends and they consider themselves to be where they came from, not Irish. And they all laugh about what's going on. They think what's going on and the fact that people are heading over towards it. They're like, this is hilarious. I can't believe we're getting away with this here because it wouldn't happen in our country, is what they all say. And they're all right. I agree with them. I'm like, fair play to you. At least you're honest as well about that. But you get these arguments from people, and then I just go, how many of those Voldemorts did you take? And you get them, what's that got to do with anything? I just want to know. We're asking questions and we're saying things here. I want to know. And very quickly then the reply is stop. Because I'm just like, you want to talk about IQs, you want to talk about intelligence, let's see how many you took. And are you going to take more? And people will jump in underneath it and say, please take more. Go for more there. And I've noticed a lot of things that have happened in the last few years that left them very quiet on. So I don't know about you. Maybe there was something in that. I don't know. So this is what they're looking to do now. They're looking to post this out. Of course, they got the big scary image there now of this woman, and she's there, and she has her mask on. Oh my god, this thing's are jumping again. Ridiculous. This mouse is gone, lads. Honestly, that's new equipment. Hopefully, in the line next week's show. I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't know if next week's show is gonna happen if this doesn't work. Just so you know, I'll have to sort this out. If this is a technical issue with this, I'll keep you in the loop. I will. But if this is a problem, I'm gonna have to get new equipment. So it could be a week or two. I'll let you know. But anyway. You've got this woman here now, of course. They love these images. Look at the image there, guys. She has this here now, and she still has a mask on. Why? Now, guess what? Guess what? Turning into Owl Joe there, whispering into the mic. Why is she wearing gloves in this picture? Why would you make that sort of observation? Well, here's the thing. The mask, of course, is in the background to keep you, and this is the thing about being media literate. There was a guy there on me recently that was chatting absolute nonsense, and I was just like, you haven't got a clue what's going on here, pal. You don't know what's happening. The media were out there crying about podcasts recently. They were like, there's too many people listening to podcasts and nobody can verify what these people are saying or how they say it. No, what you mean is you haven't got the ability to filter what's been said and it be approved by whoever it is that your editor is, or the 15 other people that your article goes through to make sure it follows the narrative, rather than the likes of Gonzo Productions like this that say what they think. That's your issue. That's a you problem, not a me problem. And the fact that you're looking to silence that shows you to be exactly what you're calling other people to be. So it's always the pot and the kettle there when it comes to you guys. So what do you see when you look at this picture? Well, what I see is in the background, you've got a person with a mask on. We'll say person because why don't we keep it gender neutral? This is what these people want. And no, we see a woman here, okay? No hair on the arms. We'll let you know it's a woman. Or maybe a soy boy, no testosterone going through these arms. There's a couple of doctors out the way, by the way, that are like worryingly saying testosterone levels are dropping. They're at an all-time low. It's not good. What's that got to do with? Well, it's got to do with all the products you consume. It got to do with the likes of shampoos, allegedly, spectively. It's got to do with some of the other things that you're eating and drinking. It got to do with the likes of fruits and vegetables as well, too, what they're being given. It got to do with animals as well, too, about what they're being given. And, of course, we have seen a huge drop in testosterone over the last 2 generations. That doesn't happen for no reason. Now, you see this person in the background with the mask on. Why is that? Well, that's to keep you subconsciously aware of these things and the perhaps maybe even the nature of them returning. It's like, well, they're still there in the background. You still see people out and about you do with these things on. And the only way, as the meme says, the only way to react to these people is to point and laugh. And I agree with that. But front and center, you see the old spike here now, and you see the stuff, and you see the gloves. Now, why am I infatuated with the gloves? The reason why I'm infatuated with the gloves is because how many politicians are out there that got this thing allegedly, spectively, and the person that was administering that didn't wear gloves? You know what I'm saying? This only seems to be confirming what I was talking about, which is like, that's weird, that's unsanitary. You're told to wear gloves when it comes to these things, and this person is not wearing gloves. Now, I will also ask you to do this, and it's something I think about regularly, and maybe, look, I'm not the type of person to wish ill upon an awful lot of people. I really am. But there are people that you can't help but, you know what I'm saying? You just can't. And I'm looking at it going, well, it doesn't seem like any of these politicians are having any issues. Doesn't seem like anybody's having a suddenly issue over there. Doesn't seem like anybody's having a clot issue over there. Now, granted, and I know what you say, I did highlight 1 or 2 people I did in the last year or so, but these are people that would be way down the line. No prominent member that's having an issue, though, is there? Doesn't seem to be. So that's weird, isn't it? Meanwhile, you know people in your everyday life that are having issues. Now, not everybody, and some people will discreetly say nothing, of course, but they will at some stage slip and let you know, I have a bit of a problem here with this, that, and the other. And they blame everything else, but where I like to cycle back and say to them, hey, if you were on steroids, for example, and next of all, you got acne, and you didn't have acne before you used the steroids, what do you think might have caused that? And I'm telling you, 10 times out of 10, the person can't wait to go, steroids. I'm telling you, just do it. Do it in your everyday life. Just do something like that. And then use it then with relation to this and see what they say. Oh, no, it couldn't be that. Psyop to bits. But here you go. You've got the media trying to roll this back out again, and they were mocked into oblivion they were when they came to this article, which I love. I think it's great. Great to see the energy. And that's why it's important for you to be online. I know you'll say, I don't want to be involved in this and that, but it's important that more voices are added to this ever-growing conversation because the media are starting to get afraid. And like I said, how do I know that they're getting afraid? Well, we know that they're getting afraid because when they put overt messaging in the likes of Fair City, that's how you know. Because now they're like, oh, we're losing the people big time. So what we're going to do, we're going to put it into a Z-list rated soap there and have people regurgitate lines. You know, people that are saying things that is written by another person for a living, adult pretenders, are going to say this out. And this is really going to drive the message home, guys. Someone is sitting at RTE thinking, guys, we seem to be losing the people. We're not getting any of these license fees. You know, these people are far-right racists. How do we combat that? And some genius sitting in the meeting room went, Finton, I think that we should implement this in Fair City. That will get the scallywags on board. And someone went, oh my God, that is a great idea, Finton. Finton, we're all called Finton in this room, by the way. Finton, wonderful idea. Let's get that rolling. You know, as they say in the States, let's get that rolling. Let's get that show on the road. And these idiots greenlit that. They went, go ahead. And people that were there, and I'm sure there had to be people sitting there reading scripts that went, right, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, this sounded nutty it did when I saw people like Peter 417302 I am a legend. When I saw him say that on Twitter, I didn't really believe that. But I'm telling you what now, this is coming down from the writer here, and that looks legit. I think I understand what these people are saying now. Because when it's in black and white, of course, people look at it and go, oh, that looks worse than I thought. Oh, stop. Oh, stop. But here's the thing. There ain't nobody on that program, from what I can see, that's actually come out and been like, I saw this coming a mile down the road, lads. This is a bad idea. Or giving people a heads up. So it was perfect the way it came out. And over the course of 24 to 48 hours, people were talking about it. And then it was like the media went, oh no, whoops. Big whoopsie there, lads. That was a big whoopsie because you just confirmed what everyone knew anyway. And loads of the biddies and everything like that, they were out there going, oh yeah, actually, you know, my young Frank there, he was saying these things for the last few years, and Frank's just been vindicated. He's just there, look there, going, told you. I absolutely told you. See. So that's a good thing. I think that's absolutely brilliant. We've also seen these ads now go through the absolute Richter scale. What would we say, Richter scale? We've after seen these advertisements go through the roof now. Every advertisement that you're seeing, now there's a great account that's out there. I keep calling it out. Africans in Irish adverts for some reason on Twitter. Fantastic accounts because it's documenting all of these things. Why is Ireland being promoted as an African country? Why is that happening? Who has made a deal with Africa to have so many Africans in this place? Like I said, I have friends that are from Africa. And they say, there's way too many of us here. What's going on? Because guess what, guys? And here's the thing. These people know. The same way you know that if you go to America and Australia, you see paddy lads coming across and you go, uh-oh, that's Jimmy out there now and he's from Wexford and there's 4 or 5 more of them. Oh, yikes. Because when these fellas are left off the leash, like, we know what's going to go on. And it gives us a bad name. Right? You know that. You know that. And so do these people. As I said before, our friends that are from Eastern Europe in particular, I have one friend in particular from Romania, and he says the same. He's like, I love Ireland. I love the place. And these are words that he said. He goes, it's not becoming a place that's safe. And I said, no, it's not. I said, it's actually getting worse. And he said, too many people from different places here. He said this. And I said, but you're a guy, I said, from a different place. And he says, I know. He says, yeah. He says, but I came here, he says, because I like Ireland. I love Ireland that shares similar values, he says, to what Romania did. He says, but now I'm seeing loads of other people come here, he says, and that's bad news. And he says, and then he talks about, for example, the people that are, you know, the traveling people that are coming from Romania, allegedly, speculatively. Now, the Romanians are greatly offended when you say that. They say, no, those people aren't from Romania, they're from elsewhere. They even suggest, I think I was talking to a friend of mine and he was saying the same as well too. I think he was saying somewhere in and around India. Now, I could be misquoted there and I could be wrong on that and I'm open to correction on that. But he was like, no, these people aren't from anywhere near India, anywhere from near Romania, I should say. Have anyone seen out the base videos that are out there? The people, by the way, when these people have been robbing shops and people, average Joes that are like, you're after robbing that shop there, bring that back, and they're caught on camera phone. That's the best way to go about it with these people now. Everyone's doing it and they're afraid of that now. It's the surveillance is great now. And I know people say, well, that's Big Brother 2.0 and what's going on. When you have average people that are going, well, the police aren't going to show up here, or they're not going to show up here quick enough to catch this individual, we're going to do it, and they're going to all be all over social media. That's kryptonite to these people. Big time. And it's good to see people taking that into their own hands. But like I said, there are friends of mine from Africa that are looking at this and they're going, why are we being overrepresented in these adverts? And then themselves then are saying, and these are good lads, they are good lads. And they're saying, well, we're fearful of what's coming after us because like that, they know that there's baddies in their country. They know that their countries are letting baddies out. And once these people are good people, they're going, we know exactly what's coming after us. And it's the same problems that's happening in the likes of America. Like Salty there, for example, there talks about his wife being Mexican, or she's at least South American. And he's like, all of her family that got into America are like close the border. They're the biggest proponents of closed borders than anyone else, as he said. Because he's like, they know what's coming after. They know cartels. They know baddies that are going to come into the country and what they're going to do when they set up shop. And similarly with these people all know. Now, these people need to be louder and need to be saying things, is what I say. Because that's very important rather than saying nothing. Because it's going to be overwhelmed. And it is overwhelmed. The place is overwhelmed right now. But when you have adverts like this that are pushing out this sort of imagery, it's trying to get you accustomed to these things, and it's trying to psyop you yet again. Look at these people on public transport. They're as Irish as you are. Listen, if we went to Lagos and I seen two white people being advertised over there, I'd be like, this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. White people aren't the majority here in Nigeria. They aren't. So why are they being advertised as such? In fact, Nigeria has banned foreign models and voiceover artists. That's not racist or xenophobic. Sure, it's not. Interesting, that one. If it was Sweden or something where they did that, there'd be all sorts of hoopla over it. Now, the thing is, like, in fairness to these African countries, a lot of these African countries are based and they're like, I'm not taking any messing from outside world. And these places are a place to watch now coming up in the future. They're gathering money. There's a lot of industries that are going to be set up there. So it'll be interesting to see how they pan out. But they're all seeing and saying the same thing. How come so many people are being promoted in adverts like this when it doesn't reflect Irish society? And certainly if you went to these other places, it wouldn't be advertised as such in those places, which I think is fair enough to say. But this is the whole psyop that's going on. Oh, they're as Irish as you were. I disagree. I wholly disagree. So we're back to the C-Knock one here. Let's see if this is going to work. No. That is the most bizarre thing that has happened in a long time now, I have to say, is this mouse issue. Let's see if this works now. Hang on. I just want to get through a couple a little bit more if I can. I don't know what I should have done. I should have went onto the pictures, but see, I have a couple of articles that I wanted to show as well. Come on. This is what you get, this production that's run by one individual. It's not professional whatsoever, but thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Yes, we got to show you the images. This is what I wanted. Yupa. So here we go. You've got this gang over here. You know, I'm not even going to scroll towards them. I'm just going to talk to you about the images from left to right. So the three-letter agency there in America accidentally admits that the face nappies don't work. So there you got the particles from right to left there that are getting smaller, and they're like cloth masks that are used to slow the spread of the sniffles, offer little protection against wildfire smoke. Guess what, guys? The wildfire smoke is actually bigger than the particle, and you're saying it doesn't help? Slam dunk. That's over. Mass debate finished. So any idiot that tells you, hey, we should be wearing this, show them that image. Give them that image. Send that image around is what I'd say. They do not catch small particles, sound, and wildfire smoke that can harm your health. Limit your time outside when it's smoky. Okay, right. Okay, well, there you go. That's done and over with now. And I said that to people as well, by the way. I said to them, you know that these things don't protect from the flu or anything like that. Or the flu's gone missing for a year. It's taken the gap year, has it? Took 2 gap years on the bounce, did it? Anyway, there's Dooley here now, as I said, on the right-hand side there. Isn't that a weird image, though? Doesn't that kind of even look like a man in the middle is like superimposed there, like through Photoshop or something, doesn't it? It's very strange looking, isn't it? Because even around his head and stuff like that, looks like he's been superimposed in. So on the left-hand side, that's Dooley there, and Dooley looks very wide-eyed, you know, and my man in the middle now, there's loads of accusations running around about him and Snow and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about, catch me drift. And there's Billy Kelleher there down on the right hand side. So not a good look there, guys. Not a good look, because then you've got out Timmy down below there. Votgate, Timmy Dooley failed in bid for Shaughnessy. Nice one, Timmy, there, you know. Votgate was a big problem for you there. There's the Lord Mayor of Cork there on the left-hand side. Oh, what a beautiful morning. And after then, I look like I have assaulted a member of the public. Yikesies. Bad timing. Now, the dude looks like Shrek, doesn't he? It's interesting as well, too. People were like straight in there, like, what does he look like? And I was like, Shrek. Shrek is 100% nailed on there. Kavanagh's Pub, New Street. Diageo price increases. Now, I'm reading this, obviously, and it's small. I don't know whether it's going to be big for you, but I just, with the mouse as it is, I'm just leaving it as it is. Greedy Guinness Crew, here's where you get another price increase a couple of weeks ago. Like the last increase they imposed on us, we absorbed the increase for customers paying with cash. We are prepared to also absorb this latest increase on the same condition. Our Guinness would stay at €5. Yes, that's just right. €5 on one condition. Pay with cash. With banking charges and associated costs of Diageo increase, anybody want to pay with card will pay the new increased price of €5.50. Sincere thanks for your continued custom. Well, that's a way around it. That's a good thing. And if you don't know already, you should know that the banks are able to get a percentage out of a card transaction, whereas if you pay with cash, they don't get anything out of that. So there you go. You know, that's something that many people didn't know. It's weird watching people still direct their dislike towards people telling them the truth and not to those who lied to them. You've got this here, the meme on the right hand side then. The sniffles is mutated and the mask mandates are back. Why aren't you wearing one? It's time to get another boost. Two, you'll look really silly if you catch the sniffles. Bro, do you even see yourself right now? You've got this here on the right hand side as well. This is Zendaya, Vogue supermodel versus the schizophrenic lunatic who sees lizard people. Based. Tiffany Gomez. Phenomenal. How to interact with someone who falls for it again. Lol. Why do people not have Hawaiian flags in their profile pictures? Because the TV didn't tell them to. See what happened in Hawaii? Now you might say, hey, look at this thing here. What's he talking about with this blue roof thing? This blue roof thing is a direct result of people going, hey, when you looked at what happened in Hawaii, it seems like places with blue roofs and blue vehicles and blue objects weren't affected. And weirdly enough as well too, it seems like an entire shoreline worth of houses and properties were protected. So did the entirety of the fire services go down and just protect them? Well, that means that all of them people should be arrested. Why did they do that? Why did they protect one property and one line of property rather than everybody else? Is that not what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to protect everybody, but instead they gathered around one. Well, a lot of people, yourself included, myself included, have now said, okay, The Simpsons did a thing there recently where it was talking about, and even Austin Powers, space lasers. Well, that doesn't seem too out of the realm of possibility now. We all know that these weather things are happening. They're openly telling you now about cloud seeding. A couple of years ago, it was a conspiracy theory. Oh no, they're not putting planes into the sky and spraying things out there and causing clouds and rain. No, they said they are. The White House even said it themselves as well too recently. And an article has said recently, as I pulled up there 2 weeks ago, that we don't know why this plane is flying around Ireland at the night time. I do, because too many people like yours truly and other people that are out there were looking up at the sky and going, why are they drawing lines in the sky? Well, I know why they are doing it. But it's more covert if they do it during the night. That's how much of a conspiracy theorist I am. Like blue roads and this thing going on. Conor Wade says, Conor McWade there, of course you see the blue and yellow flag waving country, European flag. The Irish government doesn't provide voting guidelines or guides in any language. The Independent Electoral Commission provide the guides. This is not very subtle ism and anti-immigration. Now that was directed at Gript Media, and I highlighted that because I said you're unable to view this tweet because this account owner limits who can view their tweets. And I was just like, that's a video that's done serious numbers over the last couple of days, and that's been hidden now. That looked like it was shadow banned. So I don't know about you, but that's a weird one. It's not phobia. I'm not afraid of you. You've got a dude here in a dress on RTE talking about the Rose of Tralee. So no wonder people don't want to pay for RTE. Shut up, you cough-ist, cough-phobe, anti-science denier. Are you okay? You don't look so good. So yours truly on the right hand side there now. The left hand side is some of the people you engage with. Service source there. Are you a registered general nurse or GN looking for an exciting opportunity in Dublin? Look no further, join a team. why is an African person in the advert? We're hiring in Dublin, registered general nurse. Are these advertisements just particularly just for Africans? What's the deal with that? What's the story? You know? Weird. We've got this councillor, Eliza O'Donovan, was out there crying during the week, saying that, again, it's a pity I just can't get into these tweets or anything like that, but was crying there saying, oh, people are saying mean things to me. This is a person that was snitching on people during the sniffles there that were going praying for God's sake. Like, unbelievable. Then you've got this person here then, Jennifer. Jennifer was like, appalling abuse, Eliza. For what it's worth, I'll be reporting him. I'm so sorry. This was in response to a guy highlighting what this woman does be up to. And it's according to these people, it's abuse. Now, I wrote underneath that and I said, have you ever thought that you may deserve it? Because here's the thing. None of these people ever seem to look in the mirror and go, what did I do to deserve this? So, of course, like any rational individual, she decided, oh, I'm going to block that because that's a sensible thing to say and sensible thing to do. You know, if I go and say something, for example, I don't agree with the Doubtfire community, and in fact, I actually do think they should be banned. Like, I'm not surprised when the Doubtfire community decided to spurge out and decide to come into the comments and decide to say negative things and say very untoward things. I laugh now personally because I'm just like, you're just showing me to be everything I thought you were anyway. And all you activists are all bad actors as well. But I like to highlight those things, quote them, laugh at them, and say, look, told you, these people are on nuts. Meanwhile, this person is like, well, that's a rational thing to do. But here's the thing. As I said, I am not surprised when people come into the comments that are Doubtfire supporters because it's a multi-million euro, and I should say pound really because, you know, we should be using punts really. It's a multi-million punt industry, we'll just say. And these people are all involved in it. And they're like, oh, no, we want to support the current thing. Sure, okay, well, it's detrimental to everybody in society, but I'm not going to have that at all. You know, I possess morals, I possess principles, and I possess values. Possess, not possess, do you hear me? So I say, well, it makes sense that these people are coming at me, and I've no problem with that because that's what I've done. I've decided to kick the hornet's nest. I have no problem with that at all. And I know that then that I can never turn around and go, I don't know why these people are upsetting me. I know why they're upsetting me because it's a multi-million punt industry and these people aren't well. They're not well at all. But when you ask these people like that in politics to go, excuse me, can you not think and reflect on why people might dislike you? Do you not think and reflect on why people have said negative things? I can think of many reasons. And all I did was I asked a simple question. Did you ever think that you might deserve it? And lo and behold, she disagrees. The Fascism Against Ireland, as it's affectionately known on Ireland, said Irish South First City has introduced a fash conspiracy theory character called Fergal, based Fergal. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a bit close to home, is it not? No? Everyone knows. He's also said the country's full, yuppah, based Fergal. Made several istophobe, misogynistic remarks. So you can't tell me what a woman is nowadays, you know what I mean? That's why nobody believes in you anymore. You believe nothing, and you stand for nothing. Made several remarks and shows incel qualities. Oh my god, incel qualities. Have you seen the people that run that page? Have you seen them? These leftist people don't look well. And these are the ones that are running around calling people incels. This is how stupid these people are. These people call fellas that are online, that are married with kids. You are an incel. The amount of times I've seen that comments be directed at people on our side is incredible. Incredible. I'm like, these people have no gumption about what's going on or who they're talking to. They're talking to people like the Irish Gay. They're talking to people like Derek Blyke. People with women and children. And they're like, he's an incel. Are you a stupid person? Well, the answer is that they are. But, like, you know, it always just is amazing to me that they're willing to go that way. Oh my god, he's incel. Well, here's the thing. That's what it seems like an awful lot of projection because an awful lot of these people, by the way, are the same type of women, by the way, that will romp off there to Turkey because those fellas have no standards. And the reason why they have no standards, by the way, is because their culture and their tradition, by the way, stands over something that's supposed to be very much so directed towards marriage and then that being it. Meanwhile, you have floozies coming over there that can't get anything here in this country that go over there. Big birthday, you know what I mean? Going over there, and the old little Ahmed there now is happy to take a go. You know what I mean? So every single time. But anyway, fair play to Fergal, base Fergal there now on the show. It's having a good time. And see, as you can see, even the laughing emojis there on the page. That's important because people are actually laughing at them now and they're like, oh, lovely. This is hilarious now that you're going mental about fair city of all programs saying ridiculous things. But also, as I said there, this Jennifer character as well too, appalling abuse. Asking someone a question is now abuse. Asking someone to be held accountable for what they've done is now abuse. See, this is why we need less women in politics, and this is why social media has been a big problem as well too. The word abuse gets thrown around as if it's nothing. Like, what does abuse mean to you? It certainly means something different to me, because these people think anybody that asks a legitimate question or asks them to actually be introspective and maybe even look in the mirror, that's considered now abuse. Oh, it's abusive of you to look at me and tell me what I'm doing and make me look at myself. Like, you see all these hallmarks as well too from celebrities and footballers. You know, you've got footballers that are out there, and they did loads of it as well too after England were bounced out of the World Cup. People are racist they are for pointing out, well, there's something to be said. There's something to be said when people are asking questions of, how come you brought three fellas on and these three fellas miss penalties? Like, wherever about what they look like, why are you going to your go-to of, the fans are racist because they're fellas that are black that think they've missed the penalties? They have missed the penalties with the Euros, not the World Cup. But you're not introspective. You're not looking in the mirror and going, well, actually, I'm going to take the heat for that, and I did miss the penalty, and that's bad now for him. What was the go-to excuse? You're racist because you're pointing out because we're black. That was the go-to. Gareth Southgate involved in that as well. So Councillor Eliza O'Donovan says, thank you. I already have him blocked for years. Some reason today he started going after me. It's the pile on that it brings on from others. I wish they would all just leave me alone. Their obsession with me is unhinged. You see, that's ironic, because you were the very person then that was obsessed about other people and deciding to call up Gardaí and snitch on people that were praying. Now, as I said beforehand, when it comes to things like that, and as I said, it should have been across the board if it's going to be across the board. How come mosques were allowed open? How come Croke Park was opened to these people 2 years on the bounce, but Catholic sacraments weren't allowed to go ahead? How come people that are family members and friends, how come they were able to be alone in hospitals and leave this plane of existence alone? How come 6 people are allowed to attend a celebration of their life, but you were able to open the likes of mosques and you were able to open places like Croke Park for these people? You see, that's why people are unhappy. That's why people are deeply disturbed by what you're up to. And the fact that you're proudly admitting these type of things is what pisses people off even further. It's the flagrant way of these people behaving in politics that has angered so many, and they're right to be angry, in my humble opinion. And again, how you demonstrate that, again, as I'll always say, I would suggest and I would endorse and respect peaceful and respectful ways of doing that, of course. Hazel Chew, and now again, another idiot that's running around, and well, I wouldn't say running around, because probably waddling around might be a bit more appropriate there. There was an image that I seen yesterday there, and I was of doubt for it, and I was just quickly, as I scrolled through it, I was just like, I thought that was Hazel Chew initially. I done all right in the likes there. Got more likes than my Hazel gets there with 1,665 views. So Hazel here, who's from China. These Chinese people come over to our country and they tell us what to do. No thanks. I don't have any interest in being told what to do from a person that's from a nation that's endorsing CCP and the Communism Party. No, I don't have any interest. I don't. Zero. You are the last person that should be given advice. In fact, your people are governed by your own people that have done out there things, barricaded people into apartments because of the sniffles, flying drones around. Stay in the house. Like, unreal stuff that's going on over there. People that are afraid in that country to take a tip because they're like, the government are watching. That's how paranoid people are in that country. People don't know because they haven't visited these places, and they don't know anybody that's visited these places. They don't know people from these places. When you get talking to them, these people are still paranoid. When they've come to this country, they're like, we don't know who's watching. We don't know what they're listening to. This is how ingrained it is in them. And let's just go back and think about it now for a moment. There is a country, and this is something that I don't think gets mentioned nearly enough, that endorsed and promoted and pushed a one-child policy. The government in that country enforced that upon people. You can only have one child. And Hazel Chew should feel like a blessed individual that should be looking at the likes of authoritarianism and communism as a negative. Because guess what, Hazel? If you were born in that country during those times, your chance of going further wasn't high. Because we've all heard and read the stories that have happened in that country, because why? Culturally, men are looked upon as being something that people want to have, opposed to women. because the man in that culture looks after the parents and looks after the family. The woman is basically sold off as if she's a cattle, piece of meat to people, and then she's going to look after their other family. That's how cultural things work over there. Think I'm messing? That's no joke. That's what they do. So this person out there shiting over, talking about Elon Musk. You've got the independent that's out there now going, just showboating, quoting Leo Varadkar. Leo Varadkar shrugs off Elon Musk's threat to sink new hate speech law. It's shaping up nicely here because these fellas that have been involved in hanging around the farm now are starting to get catty with each other. And no better person to be getting catty now than Leo Varadkar, who opens his mouth before his brain is engaging in what's going on. He's actually just showboating there. This is the fella that runs around telling you about his socks, telling you that he was very proud to represent things on an India Day or whatever it was. Who cares? Couldn't care less, really, to be honest with you. But nothing for St. Patrick's Day. No interest in the Irish people. No interest in listening to people. Signing on and indeed promoting things that are very negative here in this country. And this is the way it's going on. So Hazel there, infinite wisdom, of course, there now from this one. Elon Musk threatened to challenge Ireland's proposed hate speech laws, which aims to protect the most marginalised, is very much a reflection of what privilege looks like. This is a woman, by the way, that got into the position of solicitor and I think was even barrister, or was becoming a barrister, and decided, politics is for me. Was that to do with you being incompetent? I don't know. But certainly this is a person that was privately educated, allegedly, respectively, and has had a silver spoon in her mouth there. And this is a person that's talking about people being marginalised. No clue, no idea about self, I would say, observation. Maybe even when you look at, say, for example, our husband, Patrick Costa, was about to another person that's involved in politics. These people have no clue about what it is to be an average person and an average Joe. Nothing. Silver spooned individuals. Look at how all these people speak in the dot. Simon Harris. Well, guys, we're going to talk about today, and we're going to say what a great job that we've done here in Ireland. Why are these people running these things? They've no clue. Like I said before, that's why it gives me a great uplifting in the spirit when I see people like Philip, when I see people like Ferg, when I see people like Gavin that talk and sound like me. Because I'm going, they're real dudes that are boots on the ground that understand what's going on. Now, I know what you're saying, I agree with you. You know, I'm throwing support behind guys about it. We'll see how things go. But I will tell you this. Those fellas are living in and from communities that let them know quicker than most. Here, not happy with that. Meanwhile, these posh boys are living in areas. Oh, Finton, yeah, it's great there now. Look at Leo Varadkar saying about showboating. Oh, it's great. Another round of tennis, is it? You know, these are the people that are living over those sides, and they're going, I'm not worried about this at all. It's not going to affect me. But they're trying to affect the average Joe at this point. Now, hang on here. Now, the community's oversubscribed. My own kids can't live in this community because it's been priced out of it, and these people now are moving in and causing ructions in the area. And when people have a problem with that, they call this to fall by the media and that. The fact of the matter of this is this. When you have Hazel Chew and her ilk saying, hey, good idea to bring these things in, that's where you get people that go, definitely a bad idea. Because that's going to be utilised against people. This is a person, by the way, in Hazel Chew that was actively eulogising a fella being let go from Twitter because she knew this person on a first name basis. I did a video on it not too long ago. I was like, have you not just outed yourself? And a lot of people have had that thinking over the last while where they were like, isn't it funny how people follow certain accounts and say certain things, and not things that were untoward or out there, and then they got banned from Twitter for a while until Elon took over, but we're gone because these people were obviously in touch. And you have it even reared in its head right now. There's still problems in Twitter because you've got, for example, Dylan Dennis that's out there and he's sharing things there with relation to Logan Paul's missus, a 31-year-old board that's getting married to a fella that's younger than her, that's been ran through more times than anything else by various celebrities. And they're selling herself on being this, oh, I'm a very wholesome person. No, you are not. And Dylan Dennis is like out there like, here's all the pictures, here's all the proof. Shadow bans. So clearly someone from Logan Paul's team rang in and was like, here, listen, you better stop this. But keeping on pushing through because people keep going towards it, which is great. So Billy Kelleher is there as well too. This week, Timmy Dooley and I are in Give. Two fellas you wouldn't pick in a five-a-side. But big brave fellas that are able to be over in a place there that's a war zone. That's weird. Very strange. First of all, I'd just like to say this. Can you guys stay there? That'd be a great thing. And if you joined the front line, I'd really appreciate that. Put it all out there, lads. Really appreciate that you're there. And you might as well stay and put on the old helmets and run around there, I think it'd be great. Visiting the Ukrainian parliament and our ALD party sister parties to celebrate Ukraine's Independence Day. Now, this is a country, by the way, that's banned other parties, hasn't it? That's not strange at all. Honoured to have met President Zelensky and our friends in whatever. I couldn't give a rat about that. Slava Ukraine. Absolutely unbelievable. And this is the type of sycophants that we have in this government. So they're happy to run over to this there. El Duty looks washy as the day is long there. He looks a bit surprised, And then your man there in the green camo top. Playing a part. He's never out of those green camo tops. Look at me going around there in my polo t-shirt there and the camo and everything like that. And you're like, and the green olive t-shirts and polos and jackets that he wears. Oh, look at me now. I'm a regular Churchill. I'm a regular Napoleon. And these people, honoured to have met this fella. These fellas are scammers. Scammers. And your man in the middle is the biggest scammer of all. Running around. He has earned more money. This is a fella that owns property by the millions in Florida. This fella's earned more money through this scam than anybody else now. And it's clearly, I have to be honest with you, Ukraine is clearly what seems to be allegedly, effectively, a money laundering pit. Has to be. Why else are these people going over there? Why are they all meeting over there? What are they doing? Really interesting stuff. Let's keep going here. Tucker Carlson, Fox News, a company run by fearful women. Our view on the war in the blue and yellow flag waving country was really, really disliked. This is not our fight. Just saying that was considered crazy, pro-ish talk. They were mad about that. Now, that is a highly interesting point from Tucker Carlson. Now, women basically here in Ireland now are slowly but surely realising that the feminism movement sold them a bad pup. The suffrage movement was obviously pushed forward by these people over the course of the last number of centuries. Because, as you know, it means then the state is in care of whatever progeny, whatever children you may have, whatever descendants you may have. And that means then there's more influence from the likes of the TV and from outside influences rather than the family imprinting upon the child and having the child have family values. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because when you see all the NGOs and various individuals like Peter McVerdy saying, oh my God, I can't believe these things are happening. Well, if this stuff was all sorted, the likes of you would be out of business, and so would other people that do these things. So it's not really something that these people, and I'm not highlighting Peter McVerdy, all I'm saying is that individuals that are out there that work in these places, to fix these problems is not what they're interested in. They're like, oh, well, there's more problems here. Great, that keeps us going, showing the road. Everybody knows a job or has been in a job or knows people in a job, that the job has grown to having like 50 administrators where there used to be one person that used to do things. Too many people involved in these things. But it's a money thing. Because they go, okay, how can we do this? And what they did was through the feminism movement and through the suffrage movement, as you quite clearly know now, it's very evident, is they've taken women out of the home. They've doubled the taxes that they're getting. They're able to have the wages and to make sure then that people will go to work anyway, because if men stood together, and men are very good at standing together and unifying, that's why they dislike seeing men across the board gathering at these community outings and people that are protesting. They fear men. They fear based men. They fear masculine men. This is their great fear, because when they see men banding together, they go, oh, that's a problem. And great to see the base patriot women there too, because the base patriot women know that these fellas are going to be the fellas that protect them when things go wrong. Because you can wax lyrical all you like about the Barbie movie and stuff like that and say how empowering it was for women, but everybody knows that if there's an issue going on, that the woman's going, I'm in trouble here. I'm in trouble here and I need the men to protect me. This is it. This is how things have happened for centuries. For centuries. So when you see media companies and the likes of police organizations that are run by women, women do things by consensus. Look at, for example, the likes of, and you'll see it in yourself now, well, you won't see it in yourself, but you'll certainly see it in your own life. Have a look at women now. Just look at them. Just sit down and have a look at women that are, say, between the age of 20 and 30. Seriously. Sit down and look when you're out and about, and you will notice two things, right? You will notice that they're all going around with eyelashes that look like caterpillars on their eyes, that look ridiculous, that you're like, you must be able to get some sort of form of conjunctivitis from that there. You have to, because that doesn't look good. and then they'll all have the stuff filled into their lips, they will, and it looks unbelievably ridiculous. Okay? Now, you know as a man, and I know as a man, that's not for you. Okay? Do you find that attractive? No. Now, there'll probably be one or two people in the chat now that'll jokingly say, oh, I love that, I do. Or there might be someone that seriously says, yeah, I do like that. The large majority of men don't like that. Why do women do things like that? To impress other women. That's why they do that. And you've been in a room, I'm sure, that you've had your mother in or your auntie or whatever like that, and someone says something ridiculous and there's an agreement had, and you're like, you're looking at your elbow and you're looking at the granddad and you're like, did you just hear that? They're looking going, yeah, I did hear that. And you're like, we're on the same wavelength now that what you just heard was ridiculous, right? And they're all, yeah, no, we know. And you're going, okay, well, that's not just me. But now, as I keep saying and I keep repeating, I love women. I love our base patriot women. And it's very important to report about that and to talk about that, because they are women that understand the reality of the situation of what's going on. Do you understand the reality of the situation and what's going to happen in the future? And they're women that have a stake in the future because they're looking at their own kids and seeing what's coming, and they're going, I don't like this at all. And they are some of the biggest talkers about what's going on, and that's very important. But when you see media organizations that's been headed by women, this is why you're starting to see this sort of stuff. Like I said to you before, this is why the media get really upset when emotions are appealed to by people on this side of the fence, because the media are like, that's our job to do that. Because they know what they're doing. They're like, can we appeal to women's emotions and that? Yeah, we can. And that's how they try and get them on side. That's the idea of the whole thing with Fair City, by the way, is to get the old ones and people maybe in the age bracket of 50 plus on side. Whose sons, whose nephews, whose grandchildren might be going, oh, I don't agree with this. They're hoping for those older women to go, no, you shouldn't be talking about that like that. And it's up to you then to say to them, no, you're wrong, because they're putting you in danger. And these people will understand in time that that is going to be what happens. And you're starting to see that happen now. That realization has come quicker than I think in most countries, because this is a small country. You've got women that go out now and they feel fearful. They're going, oh, I don't like walking down the street now. Well, a lot of that's got to do with the fact that people in high places decided to agree with this stuff here, and you decided, I'm not going to say anything because it must be called a name. So Tucker is on the money when it comes to that there. Irish doctor, suddenly, just days before his wedding, this is the chap I was talking about there, and on Irish doctor from Armagh passed suddenly this week, just days before he was set to get married. Tribute to poured in for the man who was in his 30s. Belfast Live reports that Sean, in his early 30s, was at the Health and Wellbeing Suite at the South Lake Leisure Centre in Craigavon on Tuesday evening when he collapsed and subsequently became unresponsive. Why has this been normalised? Why has this been talked about this? Why was this not something that was headline news? How come all these things aren't headline news? They couldn't wait to get the ticker tape up when it came to the sniffles. 5,063 people have the sniffles today. More on that tomorrow. So they're all killed, yeah. The hospitals are overcrowded. The nurses are doing TikTok dances, though. There's not enough trolleys for everybody. Well, that's an ongoing problem for the last 10 to 15 years. How come they don't build extensions to hospitals? You're a racist if you question any of this. Oh, well, that's shed a new light onto that. I guess what I'm going to do now, I'm going to question it even more. How come you put stickers on the ground there? How come you painted things on the ground there? That was a long-term solution, wasn't it? That was a long-term idea. They're only painting them off now. How come Stephen Donnelly stood up there in the Senate and said, well, we would have liked to have more people? I'm paraphrasing here now. But how come Stephen Donnelly said that we would have liked to have more people on the likes of public transport wearing masks, but because we weren't going to get an awful lot of people that were going to fall in line, essentially, that weren't going to comply, we just had to just abandon it. So it was really all about compliance then all throughout, then, wasn't it? It's not a life lesson, you know? But again, like I said, sincere sympathies and condolences to this man and his family. It's absolutely atrocious that these things are happening. Are they ever going to get to the bottom of it? I doubt it. I think they're just going to try and normalise these things, and this is how we go. Sports Minister Catherine Martin and TD husband Francis Noel Duffy. This is another thing I keep telling you, lads. They have politicians that are partners and husbands and wives and stuff like that, and they all go by different names, so you can't figure these things out. The independent IE, though. You see, like I said, this woman's becoming the new lightning rod for criticism, by the way. And again, another one that'll slink off into the sunset eventually. Sports Minister Catherine Martin has said she and her husband were given free tickets for the big American football game in Dublin last weekend. So what are they trying to do there? Well, they're cultivating some sort of response towards that there, and for you to be negative towards them. And of course, people are going to be. And just say, oh, people are being negative to them about getting free tickets. No. It's got to do with the fact that she's overseeing something that's like a ministry of truth from a certain book there by a fella named George, a certain year in 1984. That's why people are upset about that. And then this woman can't define what a woman is. Is she husband and wife? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Have your say on VAT and fuel excise duties increases that will kick in tonight. Theft is what I said. The reduced rate, VAT rate of 9% that has been in place since November 2020 will be returning to 13.5%, while excise duties for petrol and diesel are increasing by 7 cents. See, this is all going on in the background, by the way, too. So whilst everything is cooling down in the likes of the blue and yellow flag waving country, this wouldn't be an issue. This wouldn't be a runner if they were taking the stuff from Russia. You know what I mean? If they were actually diplomatic about the whole thing and actually had some sort of cop on, that's what they would have done instead of taking sides with a ridiculous place that was never going to win. Unbelievable, that, isn't it? But like I said, these are things that happen in the background. Once they have you distracted with stupid things, these are things that are going on. Pub quiz on Talbot Street to support former Iceland workers. As I said here, the government are forking out millions in foreign aid and to pay foreigners just to hang around our country. But credit to the people, they're supporting the former Iceland workers. But what's been done for these people when it comes to this here? Anybody stepping in and saying, no, these people need to be sorted out? Not at all. Not at all. But the lads that are hanging around Sean McDermott Street having a few cans and all that, they're well looked after. Very unlikely Gardaí will prosecute dodgy box users. News Talk is very unlikely that Gardaí will prosecute so-called dodgy box users. I said, you possibly would only need one person to know that some are allegedly speculatively using them too to make her a non-starter. Do you think that that's just unique to just the average Joe? I highly doubt it, allegedly speculatively. So, like I said, that's probably why there's no likelihood to that. Look at this. I love this. This is something that I think is absolutely phenomenal and something I'm going to leave you on tonight. You've got this thing over here on the right-hand side, this Schmiegel Lord of the Rings, Gollum-looking individual. Women are not for decoration. And this chick on the left-hand side, some. I love it. I think it's great. That's absolutely right, it is. So that's obviously someone that was protesting against Hooters not too long ago as well, too. Based Hooters. Absolutely phenomenal. If anyone's ever been there, it's actually unbelievable to me that we have not gotten one of those in Ireland. It's a nice place now, I will say. And chicken wings are good. And the sports bars that are on there. I mean, that's the thing. One thing I have to say about America that America got right. They did that sports bar. They did it right. They did. And the fact that didn't catch on around the globe says it all. Could you imagine what would go on now? You'd have some Jabba the Hutt looking character hanging around with other Jabba the Hutt looking characters like Gorlock there that you've seen on the whatever podcast that would be hanging around going, doesn't want to talk to you. And no, she's happy to be in there working. She's happy to be in there working. It's better than her working on a pole, you know. Better than that, lads. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the chat now because, like I said, unfortunately tonight this mouse has just gone totally AWOL. It's not doing too bad now at the moment, but it's still... Oh, no, it's gone. It's definitely gone. This mouse has decided to pack in now tonight. I hope that didn't next out now. I hope that didn't close the stream. We'll find out now in a second. It keeps wanting to do it, though. Okay, that should work. Oh, yeah, it is. It's kind of lovely. So I was able to get around that there now. Technical issues abound tonight, folks, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. So where was I there now? Okay. Ad Swing says this is exactly how the government wants you talking about as long as eyes are often divide and rule. Yep. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right there. Ad Swing. Karen Bourne says I met a bunch of young men from Africa and Pocono Mountains this week. They asked them where they came from. They said Jamaica. And they can't pick apples, right? OH says Ninja Roma are generally genetically Indian, but they live everywhere. They preserve the genes because they don't marry outside their community. Yeah, they do. They do stay in that community. They do. Uji Borger says it's the same with the people who come from Russia, China, and Cuba. They tend to vote Republican. Yeah, all these people that come from these places move in and they're like, oh, I'm going to vote for Conservatives. See, this is the interesting thing as well, too, with people coming from the likes of the Middle East. People in the Middle East have been more or less vilified by people that are Conservatives, and now they're starting to come around to being like, oh, actually, hang on. The whole thing that happened in New York, where the Muslims stood with the Christians, that was a huge moment because I don't agree with the faith and I don't agree with an awful lot what they do. What it did show was, hang on here, let's unify against true bad guys that are right here and present right now, which is these people that are flying this rainbow stuff. Like, these are the villains here. And so the media now have turned on the Islamic faith in America. So that's interesting. Like I said before, see movies like the likes of you see the likes of the movies like The Covenant, and I'm like, maybe Guy Ritchie was playing 4D chess when it comes to that. I'm gonna do a review on it. But I was just like, is he trying to tell us that the military are bad guys in that movie? I think he is, you know? And you see people running around and like, oh, the military are doing a great job and everything like that. And you're like, have you not looked at what's going on? Sheepdog says, to be honest, Ninja Knight, the crowd in here now, it's Honeyland and they want to shut the door for the rest as they know it will mess it up for a long term. Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. Again, like that, going through the chat now really quickly. See it's going on. People laughing at the Shrek comment as well. Fair play. Try to throw in the funny things now and again. SGD says, if their mask works, why do I need one? Susan Reynolds says, I'm charged more to bank cash weekly in the bank than credit card transactions. And if you take all your money out of the bank regularly, the bank will ring you and ask you what you're doing. That's fact. I've heard that from many people. Paranormal Channel X says, even Ninja, even everyone liked and shared. Thanks very much, much appreciated. Fusing Sean says, Ninja might be used termite to burn those cars. The laser thing is a false flag. Well, we'll see what happens from here on out. But yeah, that's an interesting thing that happened in Hawaii. Now Hawaii flags on anyone's profile pictures. Did you notice that one? Because TV didn't tell you to do that. And that was a nice little meme that showed earlier on. But yeah. Let's keep down there through the chat there and see what's happening. Apologies again, guys, for the stream and the fact that the mouse decided to go AWOL tonight. I don't know what the story is with that. I'll have a look into that and see what happens. But like I said, I'll keep you up to date. If I'm missing next week or the week after, I'll let you know, because obviously it's not great if the technology is not working correctly. Dark Man says, take another drink, folks. Ninja Knight said, allegedly, speculatively again. Evan Hagen says, to be fair, I'm no oil painting, but she probably came here for a bit strange, but the Shinners and the woke got her before she got... Oh, stop. Let's see what's there now. No one's flower says, I thought Gavin was Ninja Knight for a short time. Really? I think we sound completely different. Fair play to Gav. Gav's doing a good job. Keep going. Someone was saying that Gav's in a tin of fruit now. He's in a suit. And I was like, oh, good man, Gav. Fair play to you. Don't go like them, all them politicians. They tell you what now. The tracksuit is something that's iconic. You know, and people will look at that and they'll go, one of us. And that's important once you say that. You know what I mean? People will see that. I think it's hugely important. We need a total disconnect from what politicians have been like in the past. We really do. I think this whole polished, speaking this sort of way, it doesn't work anymore. It's gone. It's finished. We don't need to do that. We don't. We need an ordinary job. So we do. We've got Shouting Potatoes. Lovely Ninja. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Derek Man says, like, share, and subscribe, please, folks. Support the channel and spread the word. Really helps. I appreciate that. Thanks very much, Derek Man. Derek Man says, buy a new mouse. Yeah, I'm going to do that one for sure. Brown Reed says, if you want, you can charge a laptop here in my house. The laptop's on full charge. I don't know why people keep saying that. I don't know why people are saying that. Buy mice cheaper by the dozen. Buy a new mouse. Yeah, a new mouse is definitely coming. I got one I will this week. Anti International says, nice sound for the stream. Get yourself a wired mouse for backup. None of those wireless gremlins. Yeah, that's definitely what's going to be happening now. I need to update the hardware and the equipment anyway, though, as well. Anyway, it's been too long. Been far too long. Lee James says, just watched an old Canelo fight. Come back and then just stay live. Qatar for Ireland, son. Thanks very much. Canelo fights are very interesting to watch. I do like Canelo. He's an excellent boxer, he is. Absolutely savage. Fergus Power says, Ninja Knight, 2 innocent Irish lads arrested at SEAC tonight, while foreigners do very negative things with certain substances in the bushes. Drive around with no tax and insurance. Disgrace. We'll see you in Cork tomorrow if you're going, lads. God bless. Great to see you here, Ferg. The powerful Fergus Power in here tonight. Great to see you. I'm sure that video will be up pretty soon. If it's not already there, it'll definitely be online somewhere. So that's the chat, guys. Donald Dunn's in there. It says, Ninja, great show as per usual. Again, like I said, apologies, guys, that I couldn't show you everything here tonight. The mouse went AWOL. Very big apologies towards that, and hopefully next week it'll be sorted out. And I'll be back hopefully next week 7:30 Irish time. If not, it might be a new start time of 8 o'clock. I hope people don't mind that. I hope that might suit better. But we'll see. I'm trying to play around with things as well. If things are Canadian Golovkin as a savage boxer also says, refusing Sean. I really like Golovkin. I think he's excellent. But what was I saying there? Yeah, I would like to get this started by next week, and maybe I'm going to play around with the times, and maybe even the days might even switch it maybe to maybe even a Thursday. I was looking at might be a good idea. So we'll see how things go, because like that, I know that if I change things around, it creates a bit more of a problem for said platform. We'll just say when they can't every week know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So unpredictability is very important, and it's key. Like I said, and I've been saying it, I said it on Facebook during the week, I'm up to nearly 1 million views in its entirety across the channel, which is very impressive. But also, I was like, well, 1 million views is great, but just under 6,000 subscribers now. So you definitely know that the thumb has been put down on this channel for sure, in terms of like whoever's above all is like, keep that guy down as much as possible. But it's still amassing thousands of views, which I'm impressed with and I'm delighted with and I appreciate. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that the fact that it's been pushed against so much by these platforms is great. I think that I take that as an absolute win. I take that as a complete and utter compliment. And I appreciate everybody that's in here tonight. I appreciate you listening live. I appreciate you listening on the playback. I'll talk to you next week, which is very important. But I'll jump out now with a couple of chats on the way. White says, enjoy first time in live. I've been listening on playback. Great stream. Thank you. Great to see you here live. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Drum Reedy says 8 is better. People talking about the gorillas in the chat there as well too. Yeah, I love the gorillas. Zarowski says, cheers Ninja, have a great evening everyone. A big shout out to the mods again, really appreciate it. Fair Joes. Sean O'Keown says, good evening all around, everyone around Fingersmart. There's a peaceful community assembly at the church in the village at 3 p.m. Try and make it if you can. Back up any of your channels, folks, says Sean Mack. Good point there. Armchair Limerick National says you're ground ninja. Yeah, I've seen a big number now tonight. That's great. Drum Reed says, time you got a sponsor. This channel's too radioactive for that. There's nobody that's coming in here that's just like, would you like to be sponsored? I'm like, I don't think you want to be going anywhere near this, like, you know what I mean? Paranormal Channel X says, thank you for the live TGC Ninja. Derek Fanboat, mods and chatters alike, be vigilant, socially aware, and safe. Frank Barnes says, good viewership today. Snap Happy says, by all. Derek Mann says, time to unleash the second channel Ninja Night. Yeah, we'll see. There's another one sort of in the works. So I'll wait and see. I don't know what I'm wanting to do yet. I don't know whether it's going to be entertainment full time on that one or whether it's going to be a bit of a mix again. We'll see. Melvin P says, is there any point in protest? Yeah, there is. Big point in protest. If the community is not happy, get them out. Hear what you're saying. I think what's going to happen now in future is you're going to get people that will be protesting. I think it's happening with people in communities. I saw the fella that was lifted out of a community there during the week with just say alleged greedo and lifted out there because public pressure and people turning up outside the gaff. Reminded me big time of the 90s, the pusher out people that used to turn up there in big numbers and they had to move those people on. It reminded me of that. And then I was just like, this is happening here now, right now with these people. And eventually people are going to go, okay, time to do that. And people are starting to do it. And again, like I said, peacefully, respectfully, they're standing outside the houses of politicians now. And that's where that's going to go next. And again, I'm just explaining cause and effect. I'm not calling for anybody to do anything. I'm not supporting, endorsing anything, disavowing. But all I'm saying is that that's exactly what's going to happen. And cause and effect, it's just going to go, well, it's no point in standing outside certain buildings when it comes to these things. And look, I think the SIAC thing is hugely important. I think it is. I think when it comes to certain things like that, I think that's hugely important. But I think people are going to start going, well, who is the local TD? Who is the local councillor that is enabling this? And that's where people are going to go next. And like I said, cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay, so have a good weekend, guys and ladies. And I'll talk to you next week. Best of luck. Good luck.